Got it.
All right, we on. Sports Mix 2021, November the 5th edition. Got the round table. Got my man CB in the building. Charles Brooks. Got my man Neil, DJ Uno. And my guy Cheese, Rob Gardner, the Chilling with Cheese podcast. We'll have somebody else joining us in a minute. Here chopping it up on a Friday night. Talk a little sports, talk a little whatever comes up. Shout out to my guy DJ Mark Henry. I did speak to him yesterday, so I was playing his one of his mixes. You know, he gave me the thumbs up to play it. So I'm sorry about that I wasn't able to get it on live, but I'm gonna work that out and share some of his music with y'all, and be reaching out to some of my other DJ friends for some some music to add the mix to the sports. So okay. Fellas, what's good? Talk to me. How we doing on a Friday night?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there. Glad everybody can come on and chop it up for a few.
What up? It's been a minute.
Yeah. Good to see you, Neil.
Everything's good right now. Right now, the Knicks are down by like 19 points, man.
Oh man.
Who playing?
They playing the Bucks at Milwaukee.
Who's that? The Knicks?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what's that? Is that on ESPN?
Yeah.
I'm gonna flip that on. Flip something on while I'm sitting here.
Right.
Okay.
They down by 19. So.
Is it third quarter or?
First. It just started.
Oh, okay.
I think it's probably like. I think it's just like the end of the first. It just started like around like 7:30.
Yeah. They'll make a run.
Nah, it true New Yorker, man. You know.
Yeah.
The sky's falling.
Hey man, we had some rough years, so I'm going to enjoy all of this right now, every single bit.
Yeah. I don't blame you, man.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I got one ear on the trial of your boy Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, right?
It ain't crazy. I already see where it's going.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but
you also got the Arbery trial.
Yes.
Where they got,
I haven't seen that though. I haven't seen where they was showing that.
One. How does that happen?
Which trial
How does
is
that happen? Ahmaud Arbery. How does that happen?
They only got one in the Kyle Rittenhouse thing too.
One what? One
I
black
believe
guy?
so. Yeah. In Kenosha, where they say it's like 30% African American.
He gonna get about 3 years. That's about it. Yeah.
You know what it is? This is America.
Right. Triple K, America.
This is what it is.
It's unfortunate, man. So
I
can he pop off, man?
I ran across for something that Cheese would talk about, something boxing related. I just saw it probably 10 minutes ago.
What's that?
Today, on this date, I think it was 1994. George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore.
Yeah.
To regain the heavyweight title.
I remember that fight.
I remember watching it too.
Hey, Cheese, was that the when George gave him a uppercut?
Yes.
Gave him an uppercut, and that was it.
And Michael Moore went down and did not come back up.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
That
was a vicious uppercut too.
The punch didn't look that devastating when watching it live.
Right.
Yeah. But when you after you watched it again, you saw that he caught him clean.
Because it was so quick, right?
Yeah.
That joint probably liquefied his guts.
I think he had leverage too, because George is a big he was a bigger man, and he had that leverage, and with that weight coming forward.
Now mind you,
lights out.
I know I always equate stuff to Muhammad Ali and to the detriment of his health, but to withstand that kind of punishment against guys like Foreman and Shavers and never go down. And now, mind you, Foreman was in his 40s when he fought Michael Moore.
Phone, whatever he was
45.
Imagine Moore fighting a big young stallion and George Foreman.
Right, you can't dial that
when
number
he was in his prime. And
I don't know what that is.
yeah, man, to withstand that kind of punishment,
I don't know.
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
I remember that fight too.
I remember it, and it was a big deal because Gus Foreman was like 45
Right.
at the time and became the heavyweight champ.
Right.
You know, and he last was the champ in the 70s?
Yes.
He never had a belt in the 80s, right?
No.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big deal to have that big a gap, almost a 20-year gap.
Yeah.
Between
Ali took it from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, between him having
74.
Between him winning it in 94 and when he lost to Ali in 74. So he never got the heavyweight belt after Ali until that.
No. Well, let me tell you, before you switch to another subject, I'm gonna give you guys a bit of, you know how you say certain things in history may happen for a reason. Well, when he fought George Foreman, obviously it was in Kinshasa, Zaire. Immediately after that fight, it was a tremendous rainstorm.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were almost going to cancel that fight because of this huge rainstorm that was going to sweep through.
Yeah.
So how that changed the trajectory of history is that they were able to get that fight. If that fight would have went 2 more rounds, that whole fight would have probably been stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an ironic moment in, you know, sports and boxing, world history. Yep.
Wow.
You get a couple shout outs. Got my man Kevin Graves watching Kev G.
G-Rap.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to my man Neil. Hey, I want to give a shout out to my man Neil because a few months back, you know, some stuff went down, and I want to give a shout out to Neil because he showed me a lot of love. I love you, Neil. I really appreciate that, man.
Definitely, bro. Don't even worry about it. Cheese, but while I'm on the subject of Ali, I know that's your idol, man. If you got Netflix, check out the joint. You seen it?
Yes,
Brothers,
with him and Malcolm.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I'm gonna need your thoughts on that. Not right now, but
yeah, okay. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed.
Kelly always tuned in, and she shared the video. So what's up, Kelly?
What's up, Kelly?
Thanks again. Yeah. Big Monroe Tyler, Big Money, TS in the building. Got my man Dean on the line. Part of that. What's up, Dino?
I'm on it. Yeah, I'm still trying to work out this video connect. Can y'all can't see me, can you?
No, we can hear you. Though. So go ahead, work it out.
Okay.
I'll
keep working it out. I'm here.
What you got us on Ring Video? What you got us on the Ring?
Got all the jokes.
You got us on the Ring.
I'm such a newbie at this, you know.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, working on it.
You know, the joke's coming. So
I know, right?
Everybody,
I know that.
Everybody be on the toe.
I listened all last time, so I know what it's like.
Hey,
I was laughing, having a good time.
Monroe Tyler said, "Nice to see something positive." Appreciate you, Monroe. Thanks for kicking it with us tonight, man.
Thanks, money.
We're gonna have some interesting subjects. See what you think, man.
OG. OG with the forearms back in the day, up Silas. Pushing and shoving under the basket.
On money, know how to lower that shoulder.
Yes, sir. I caught a few of them right here. Yeah. So Big George, on this day, I ran across that. Another thing that I wanted to just get some opinions on is the OBJ, the whole situation with him in Cleveland. I think did he get released yet? Is it official that he released?
I believe so.
All right, so I heard they reworked his contract.
Yep.
To lower the number. They kind of added to the cap. Added to his signing bonus I think that lowers the cap number for a team that's going to pick him up.
Right.
They work out a deal or whatever.
Right.
But any thoughts on that whole situation with him in Cleveland?
It seems to me, I think there's more information that's going to come out, and I say that because unless I'm missing something, and tell me if I am. So, his pops, I guess went on IG, dropped some video of Mayfield missing his son. So that type of thing there, where there were opportunities from the past, and he's all wide open, and he's not passing him the ball.
Yeah.
And then the next day, the Browns tell OBJ, yo, don't come to practice. And then the next day after that, no, stay home, man.
Yeah.
Don't come to practice. And then today, there's the buzz that we work in his contract, and then today he gets released. We have yet to hear anything from OBJ. The only thing that we have is from his father. And what I find just a little interesting is that based on this video, Cleveland a brass organization decided, okay, we cutting ties right now.
Yeah.
And the only thing so I believe, well, I'm led to believe that it can't be just that video. It has to be something else. And this video, in their eyes, maybe is the last straw. And they're like, okay, we're not even going to try to work this out. We're cutting them. Because from public appearances, it didn't seem as if there was an outright issue with OBJ, and other than him not getting the ball and all that. But he wasn't, to me, I didn't really hear him like spewing out into the public, into the media, I want to get traded and all of that. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're totally right.
You're right about that, and I think that's a good thing.
So I'm not hearing any of that from him, and even when this video dropped, he hasn't said anything. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're just going to drop him. So, clearly on the outside, to me, I'm like, oh, okay. Adam Schefter is going to be giving us some updates on this, because it can't just be, to me, it can't just be this. It can't just be a player's father shows videos of our quarterback missing plays, and we're going to cut the wide receiver. Come on. No, and I don't know what it is, but it's something, and it can't just be that video.
They was going to move him anyway. Before that, they was going to move him anyway. Because it's just he hadn't been productive. I know he had a couple injuries over there since he was in Cleveland.
He's coming off of injury, right?
And he got a pretty big contract when he went there, right? So I know he's been unproductive. Like you say, it seemed like him and Mayfield are not on the same page.
On the field. On the field, it appears like off the field, like they're friends. Like there's no issue. It's from what I've heard and watched on the sports, like there's no real tension with them, like off the field, like they're friends. It's just like on the field they can't connect.
I mean, I don't really care about off the field, personally.
Right.
But I think he because he came there as he came there had the reputation, like the diva reputation, that he kind of forced his way out of New York. If I'm not mistaken, he kind of forced his way out of there because they were kind of on the downward spiral. In those last couple of years he was there, I think Eli had retired, and then there was like the quarterback, who was going to be the quarterback situation. And then he kind of was just trying to get up out of there. So he go to Cleveland, got the big contract, and never really been real productive there. In my opinion, he had maybe a flash or two, but nothing real significant.
I think his first year there, I think he put up some big numbers. I think his first year there.
Yeah, but
I think his first year, I think he had like a full season. I think he suffered an injury in his second year there. I think his numbers started to numbers start to go down.
Yeah, so I'm not a to me, I think Mayfield is a middle of pack to a little bit higher than middle of the pack quarterback in the league. He's
Above average.
a little above average.
That's it.
He's a little above average. He's not the thing he did is he capitalized on his popularity.
Right.
He's on my TV all fucking day, you know, with those with the commercials.
But he was getting pressed when he was at Oklahoma.
Say again?
I said he was getting pressed when he was in college.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He capitalized off his popularity. Mm-hmm. You know, he and I'm not mad at that. He capitalized, he cashed in, he get in the bag. I'm not mad at that. But
got to produce.
When you on people's TV screens every day with the commercials, with whatever, at some point they're gonna want to start seeing some production. You know what I'm saying? And Cleveland made the playoffs last year.
Right.
They won a game, right? They won a playoff game last year.
Right.
All right. Now what?
Right.
And he's the kind of guy, in my opinion, he'll make a play. He'll make some plays, but he's one of them guys that will give something up too at a crucial time in the game. He'll give something up and kill a drive for a team or whatever. So I've never been real big on Baker Mayfield, and the fact that I'm a Ravens fan, so they the enemies. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland don't have no love for us. So.
You know what? I see. This is kind of weird because I'm an Odell guy. I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan. I thought he is, and I listen to these guys. I listen to the ones that really make sense, like Ryan Clark. These guys that really know the game, and Odell Beckham is an elite talent. And what Ryan Clark, what Swagoo and all those guys have been saying for the last 2 years, watch the tape. Whoever put the tape out on OBJ Senior's Instagram, whether Junior okayed it, whether Senior did it on his own, they did it for a reason. And I see it all the time. The dude is constantly open, and he's never being thrown the ball. When you have an elite talent like that, how can you go into these games and be targeted twice when you're wide open on 10 different plays? You target last week. I watched the game because the Ravens were off. He was targeted one time until the fourth quarter. How does that happen with an elite talent like that? But yet, this dude is labeled as a troublemaker, outcast, and Stephen A. made a point of it today. He has not said one word this year. Keyshawn Johnson said it too. He pulled him up when they were with the rant out in LA. He said, you know what? I know you're frustrated, but don't say anything, because he knew he's auditioning for somebody else, because they're going to see how he's acting on the sideline. They're going to see what he does when he doesn't get the ball. He hasn't thrown his hands up. He hasn't did anything. What does this guy need to do? But yet, Baker Mayfield, they're giving this dude all kinds of excuses when he was throwing his nuts up at Oklahoma at different players. But yet he comes in, they say, oh, he's feisty. But when OBJ says, give me the damn ball, he's a nuisance. He is electrifying. He's a playmaker, and I hope he comes back to burn the Browns. I really do.
One way to do that.
Sign with Baltimore.
Sign with Baltimore.
I would take him, and I would give a 2 for 1. I would give a 2 for 1 for any 2 receivers on the Ravens to get that dude.
He's free now. We ain't got to give nothing up.
No, got to wait till Monday. Got to pass waivers.
But I'm just saying, if it would have come down to, even though the trade deadline is gone, and that's another thing.
He's going to go through waivers. So he has to pass
that's
waivers
another thing.
on Monday, and the team can pick him up Tuesday morning.
Yeah, but Kenny brought it up. they were looking to get rid of. No, they weren't looking to get rid of him, because if they would have tried to get rid of him through trading them and getting something for him. That trade deadline on November the 2nd at 4 p.m., nothing happened. But the next day when that video came out, like CB said, oh, we're going to send you home today. We're going to send you home the next day.
I mean, I think they was trying. I think they were trying to see if they could get something for him.
Yeah, I heard they hooked up with New Orleans, and they was trying to work out a deal, but they couldn't come to terms with that. You know, I think that with a guy like him, I mean, really just in general, when it comes to relationships, one thing that people always sort of forget about a relationship is that thing can end instantly. It can change, whether you're talking about a man and wife, a football player and a coach, a quarterback and a receiver, or whatever. Relationships are always volatile, and they can change at any second. Somebody can wake up in the morning, been married for 25 years, and look over and say, I'm out, and it's over.
Right.
That's the nature of a relationship. So if you keep that in your mind going into a relationship, that hey, this thing can end at any second, then maybe people will appreciate the relationship while they're in it. Now, when it comes to this dude in Cleveland, the relationship is over.
Yeah.
It's over. His first year there, the guy had over 1,000 yards receiving.
He sure did.
He was successful. He was successful. Something went sour. And you know, when I look at Baker Mayfield, he's the type of dude that you can easily hate. I mean, just the way he is, man. Just the way his personality is. You know, he can be a turnoff.
Yep.
And that relationship is over. The guy can play football, man. This receiver, man. He can play, man.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think about, you know, I hear them talking about him being a issue in the locker room and all these kind of things. You just look at the boy that Tom Brady throwing to now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He was a real issue.
Brown.
Hollywood's cousin.
Yeah. Antonio Brown.
You know, Antonio Brown. I remember when Randy Moss was going through some stuff, and he went up in New England, and the boy was blazing again. So if you can get Beckham with the right place, the right quarterback, somebody he respects,
bingo,
a coach or a manager, a coach that he respects, man, this dude can come in and make a big impact.
But he can't go to Tampa Bay.
No,
he can't go to Kansas City.
And you know what? You bring up a good point about Kansas City, because over the last 4 or 5 weeks, Kansas City been shaky. So Travis Kelce ain't been catching a lot of balls. I heard a nerd here on one of the NFL stations. Travis Kelce ain't looking the same. What about Mahomes? What about Mahomes? These quarterbacks can literally break or make your contract. Andrews, for example, for the Ravens, he's a great tight end. But guess what? Lamar got him paid. Lamar got him paid. He got him the ball.
Number one receiver last year.
Yeah. So I don't, a lot of that stuff, you know, you say you can't have, just like Eli Manning. Eli Manning, I think, was a good quarterback. He wasn't, you know, elite like a Brady or whoever but he was a damn good NFL quarterback. Why for 3 or 4 straight years that Beckham averaged 1,400 yards with him, then go to Cleveland and they ain't throwing the ball? Makes no sense to me.
Shout out to Troy Bucks and my guy, Tom Ritter, Carolyn Bobby and my cousin. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Sir.
Yeah, but that whole quarterback receiver relationship, you know, it's just about trust. You know, it's about trust. Like, yo, I gotta trust that when I throw that ball out there, you at least gonna try to make a play on it. You know, especially in the NFL where you're not always gonna be wide open. You know what I'm saying? Where you just throw the ball and drop it in my hands, like, you know. So like with Lamar and Andrews, you know, he doing a better job this year spreading the ball around a little bit more. But the last couple of years, you knew if it was
Mhm.
third in anything, he was going to Andrews.
Right.
Win, lose, or draw, he was going to 89, and he
Yeah.
was going to take his chances. Whether if,
Mhm.
I don't care if he was in traffic or not,
Yeah.
he was looking for 89.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so he's doing a little better job with that now. But it's that relationship. It's that building that relationship, that trust with a quarterback and a receiver. And I've never been a wide receiver. I've never been a quarterback. So I don't know what comes into building that relationship, getting that where they hear, they kind of seeing the things the same way. Because I used to cringe, when I used to hear people say, well, quarterbacks make wide receivers or wide receivers make quarterbacks. It's like, they help each other. You know what I'm saying? They help each other. You got to have somebody that can get the ball to you, number one. But you got to be able to catch it. So it's not like, so they'll say, I remember back a few years ago, they were saying, well, Aaron Rodgers is doing all this without a number one receiver. He's putting up all these crazy numbers. But the receivers he got to catch the ball.
Yeah. By the way,
he's not throwing it to him and sticking his hands out there for him. They got to go out there and catch it.
By the way, I just got an alert. Aaron Rodgers was inoculated.
Yeah, we're going to bring him up. He on the agenda. Believe that. He definitely is on the
He was inoculated. I'm sorry, man.
He's on the agenda. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's that trust, like
Right.
just building that camaraderie that I know I can go to you in the clutch.
Right.
So I don't know what that. I'm gonna have to get a quarterback on here and talk about that. To find me a QB.
I mean, I played a little wide receiver and tight end. I know for as far as a quarterback, like you say, it's certain routes that you're going to get hit, like across the middle or whatever. And I played with a quarterback in my senior year at Dundee. Well, I was playing running back then. We had a play where we would run a screenplay. I ain't gonna mention the quarterback's name, but I would tell him in the huddle, like, throw the ball to me, let me catch the ball, and then make a play running the ball. What he would do, because it was a screen where I had no blocker, so he would lead me to where as soon as I caught the ball, I'm getting hit. Like that's not what you want. As you know what I'm saying? That's where, like you say, that trust issue or those type of things come. It's got to be like, yo, I'm trying to catch the ball, but you can't put me in a position to where, you know what I'm saying? Those are the type of things where the trust comes into. Because if you're running a route across the middle and you got a middle linebacker telling you don't want to catch the ball, and as soon as you catch it, get laid out, it's like, yo, you got to trust that your quarterback will put the ball where you need to catch it so that you can catch it and be safe and then do what you need to do or attempt to do what you, even, you know what I'm saying? Even if you just catching it and get a second to protect yourself.
But
Like,
that's part of that trust, huh?
Money said receivers make great quarterbacks.
I mean, like you said, I feel like it's both, because the quarterback has to know where to put the ball. And then the receiver has to, you know what I mean? Like you said, go get it at all costs. But you don't want to, every play you go and get it at all costs. You know what I mean? Because you in danger. When you stretching out or you got to jump and reach up, you're vulnerable.
Shout out to Todd Heap. That goddamn Kyle Bowler, man.
Right.
I don't know how Heap survived some of them years.
Right.
Because he took some hella shots coming across that middle during them years when Bowler was the quarterback. Shout out to Kyle Bowler, man. You done made this sport.
But you know what, Ken? It seemed like toward the end of last season and during the off season, there was this storyline that because Beckham was out and Cleveland had some semblance of success.
Yeah.
While he was out, because he was injured, and then they're looking at the numbers, and then there was this, I don't know, this narrative or storyline that you know, Mayfield was having success on the field without OBJ.
Yeah.
And then the question come up: does he need him or not? Is he a better quarterback with him? And so, you know, I don't know if it's a valid question or if a question just for, you know, a sports debate sake.
But
where
do most speculation come from? Where do most speculation come from? Forums like this. People talking, we just throwing it out there. People say it all the time. Well, you know, such and such get hurt. You know, just here in Baltimore, because I'm more Ravens guy. So you know, I remember who was it? Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis get hurt one year. You know, Ravens doing all right, but they weren't winning. I don't know if that was the year they went like 7-9. And I think Ray got hurt, and they were saying how great a job Brian Billick did coaching that young team, you know, to get the wins that they got. There was a push in the media to move beyond Ray Lewis because he was coming up on a contract. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, well, we did X, Y, and Z without Ray. Let's move on beyond. And a lot of that stuff gets started on forums like this, like media people get to talking. You know, they'll get a quote from somebody in the locker room. It could be some obscure guy that probably never see the field. You know, I don't like Ray Lewis anyway, blah, blah. And then they run with that. That's that anonymous source type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the bigger names tend to get that. You tend to hear that stuff with the bigger names. You know, the OBJs, the Ray Lewises, you know, the TOs. You know what I'm saying? The bigger names, the guys that got more personality. Any little thing with them, team, that's when you start to hear the little murmurs and the rumors. Like, yeah, well, let's get them out of here. Let's move them. You know what I'm saying? Or we did this without them. You know, we don't really need this type of this, that, the other. So I don't really get that a whole lot. But I get it. You know, I get it. And it happens every year. Big name goes down and the team does X, Y, and Z without them, then it's like, well, do we really need them? The bottom line with all that is, especially in NFL, is are we going to pay them? Because the salary cap is so, you know what I mean, it's such a big deal in the NFL. That become the issue in the NFL is are you willing to pay that money to somebody that you got X amount of wins without, you know, rather than hold on to them. And then we may or may not get more wins or not. So that's kind of how I see that. Shout out to Elvis Wilkes, Kinfolk. So what's so I'm gonna slide over to Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron is in the news this week. Tested positive for COVID. So, you know, people test positive for COVID every day, B.
Shout out to Alpo. Shout out to Alpo.
Shout out to Alpo, RIP to Alpo. He had it coming. But
wow.
So my man apparently said he didn't say it was
vaccinated, right?
He used
immunized. And
then, so I wish I could play this clip. Cause did you see the response he had?
Nah, what was his response?
Tell him, Chief.
Well, I heard some of it. And
it wasn't long.
It was saying how it would mess with his fertility.
So he going out like what's that, Nicki Minaj boyfriend?
Yeah.
It's
messing with the testicles, you know what I mean? It's up.
Goodness
the first thing he did, so he said, well, if they did a follow-up question to my response, So basically, he putting the onus back on the media people.
Yeah, of course.
They didn't do a follow-up question.
So
I mean, they was asking about being vaccinated. If I'm right,
Right.
and he said he was immunized.
Right.
That's so in his mind, what does immunization mean? Because technically it is the same thing. Immunization means that you've taken all of the necessary vaccine.
Right. So now it come out that he is not vaccinated, and so the clip that I saw. So he said, well, if it was a follow-up, I would have said first that I'm not a flat earth non-vaccinated conspiracy
theorist.
So first, my first thing was
that was it.
So when I heard
was Kyrie, that was his Kyrie jab.
Yeah, that's what I said. When I heard that, I said,
Kyrie jab.
That's his Kyrie shot. He's taking a shot at Kyrie Irving.
Right.
That's crazy. Wow.
Which will going to take some pressure off of him. You know what I'm saying? And get I'm not that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that. I got my reasons, and then he come with the, with like what Cheese was saying, the fertilization and whatever.
He also has an additional privilege that Kyrie don't have.
Well, come on now. Come on, let's talk about it.
That Lamar didn't have. It was the rainstorm when he caught COVID. You know what I mean?
See, here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, first of all, and I agree with Miss Diane. She said he misled his team. He should be held accountable. I totally agree. 200%. First of all.
That's my mom's.
Yeah, I know. Come on, Kenny.
I give moms a shout out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Miss Diane.
Yeah. But you know what? He sit there, he misled his team. Number one, first of all, if you don't want the shot, that's not stopping you from playing NFL football. They just do a different protocol for people who don't want the vaccine, meaning you get tested every week.
Mm-hmm.
If he should have stood on what he believed instead of talking around the issue, I got no problem with that. If somebody says, "No, I don't really want the shot," okay, you go through the protocol every week. See, here's my problem. You did this. You deceived your team. You deceived whoever else. Number one, I think the ownership knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think, okay, you didn't have enough respect for your teammates' families, because now you're messing with the livelihood of somebody else's family. Whether you agree with the shot or not, I'm gonna tell you.
Beyond the livelihood, you messing with the health.
Yes,
of
and I'm gonna keep it 100.
And their families.
If I don't have the shot, and I know I'm going around Kenny, Neil, Charles, Dean, and you got, especially if you have parents or relatives who compromise with an immune system, the least I'm going to do is wear a mask. At this point, this is what we're dealing with. So I don't think he's showing any kind of respect. I think he should be fined. I think some games he should be suspended for some games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Green Bay Packers as an organization, because you can't tell me they didn't know anything, I think they should be fined at the very least $1 million a game in which he played. I already thought about this.
Right, the owners, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he should be suspended for the season.
I wouldn't mind that.
Because if Kyrie can't play the season, I mean, granted, it's two different sports, but Kyrie was always open and honest about his platform, his decisions, and what he was not going to do. He followed all protocols. This dude did none of that. He lied, didn't follow any protocols, and put people in jeopardy. He needs to be gone for the season. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
The same way they make examples out of everybody else, he needs to be made an example of.
And you know what? Go ahead,
Jimmy Thomas. Shout out to my man Jimmy, Coach Jimmy. What's up?
The only thing I think is different, and what's a couple things different. Number one, pigmentation is different. Number one.
Right. That's what's different. That's why he probably won't be.
No, but in Kyrie's his situation, number one, if they had that same situation in the NBA, Kyrie would be playing. But see, the point is
he would be playing, exactly.
Yeah, but the point is, the Brooklyn Nets are not in control of him playing, because the New York City mandated that you cannot play in indoor arenas or places like that if you're not vaccinated. That's their law.
Right,
So the
but
Brooklyn
in the same
Nets, the
token,
New York
Brooklyn could have
Knicks,
allowed him to play in non-New York games if they
I don't
chose.
think I think they're gonna be all in all, all in or
Right.
not,
That was the position that
But
they
that's
took.
where I feel like the difference is, because, like you said, maybe if it was a situation in the NFL, you think
Mhm.
if they knew Aaron Rodgers, you think they wouldn't let him play in any situation they could, or they would you think they would do the same thing to Aaron Rodgers?
No, he was
all
still
or
playing.
nothing.
Yeah.
Because you still
Right.
you have
Yeah.
So, but my thing is,
Kirk
it ain't
Cousins
even a
is not-
question of what Kyrie, all of that New York and whatever. That's not even the issue. The issue with me is Kyrie was always open and honest. Aaron Rodgers lied and deceived, and he needs to be held accountable. He should be gone for the season, in my opinion.
See,
Like,
I knew we was gonna get into this because I'm dealing with a bunch of intelligent dudes. So I'm feeling like I had to bring my fucking A game to this conversation. Kyrie, I'm just gonna put it out there, and you might cut me off. Kyrie is a diva.
he's a what?
He's a diva.
That doesn't
Kyrie
change
is
the
a
fact.
diva.
That
It's
doesn't change the
always
fact that he
something
was
with him.
honest. But it doesn't
Well-
change the fact that he was honest. If you can't, here's the thing, like, you holding him accountable for other situations when we talking about this particular instance of in this particular rule and this particular situation.
But is
Are we
he
or are we
for
not?
is he for or against the shot?
It doesn't matter.
Of
Why
course it
does that
does.
even matter though? Why does that
Because-
even matter?
Because if he's for or against the shot, and see, this is a couple of problems I have with Kyrie. Number one, everything.
Hold up, but remember, we talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're not talking about Kyrie though.
I know we kind of
But
got.
go ahead,
okay,
I'm listening.
Okay. See, with Kyrie, here the thing that I have difficulty with is, okay, if you have a certain stance where you say, you know what, you don't want to take the shot right now, you don't feel comfortable. Okay. So then the Brooklyn Nets make their situation, how they feel, they're gonna do it. But yet Kyrie, the next day, is out in the street doing his thing, and it's like, okay, you don't want to acknowledge the fact that you left players hanging. He really did.
What is out in the street doing this thing though?
I don't know what was he doing. He was out like with a bunch of dudes. I don't know if they had a pickup game or something or whatever. But my point is, you got guys who signed on to Brooklyn to play with you, and they all in. So Kyrie, and I agree with a lot of people, Kyrie is box office. But at the same time, to me, it seemed like he left his teammates hanging. He left Steve Kerr hanging. Steve Kerr don't even want to be involved with the conversation.
But
I don't know.
You know what?
You know what? You
But
tell
you
me
know
what
what?
you think.
Steve Nash, you mean?
I mean Steve Nash. I'm sorry, Steve Nash.
For one, I don't see any similarity with Kyrie and Aaron. And
No, I don't either.
For one reason, we don't have a question of what Kyrie said and what the Brooklyn Nets did. Because if there was any question, then the Brooklyn Nets wouldn't have done what they've done.
Right.
They told them, you're going to sit, period.
Right.
So what we know with Aaron is that, you can play the game of semantics and attach deceived, misled. I mean, you can play that game of semantics in a court. You lied.
Right, flat out lied.
He flat out lied. I totally agree. Yeah.
And for you to say, I told a lie, and I'm waiting for somebody to give me a follow-up question. So I'm waiting for you to ask me. Come on. He could have just, if nobody was asking that follow-up question, he could have easily have provided. And for those of you who didn't ask me what I meant by immunize, boom, 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 boom. But he didn't do that. So for him to come back and say that they didn't ask me the follow-up question is bullshit, because you could have just said what you had to say and define what you meant by immunize, knowing that if you open that door, we may not even be here now because that door would have been open and closed back in August.
Right.
So we don't know what would have happened if it would have led up into whether he played or whatever.
Right.
But when I listened to most of what he was on some show, the Pat McAfee show, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it, and you know, like Big Fella said, you know, he's not the flat Earth, and he's not an anti-vax. He did all of this research, and he's saying all of that, and then he goes into, you can't tell me what to put in my body. So he goes into that whole argument, and so to me, okay, so that's your argument.
Okay.
So, you know, you're going on to say that, you know, the Johnson, you know, the vaccines had ingredients that I was allergic to, so I couldn't take it. And Johnson & Johnson, they removed it off the shelves, but he didn't say that they put it back on the shelves. And sometime later, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, because there was some issue with the vaccination, which I recall, or Moderna. So he's going on, and you know that he did the research and that he's a critical thinker and such like that. But then he goes into the argument about you know, your personal body and what the government can and cannot tell you to do and so forth. And you know, so the beginning of what you were saying was all bullshit, because what you led to at the end, like that's your argument.
Mm-hmm.
That's your argument. You know, and the only thing that allowed you to be able to sit on the Pat McAfee show, 2 white men, you are able to expound on your white privilege for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to say this line by line. You start off with you're not a flat Earth and anti-vax, but then what did you end up with?
Mm-hmm.
You ended up with the argument that this is about your body and they can't tell you what to put in your body and so forth. Okay. Right.
You know, I will agree with Neil, and Neil says no, because you know your IQ is you know, way above mine. But I will agree with you.
Stop saying that, brother.
Nah, I'm dead serious. I mean that. But if Kyrie did what Aaron Rodgers did just today and yesterday and the day before, you can't tell me he's not going to get 6 to 8 game suspension.
Right.
Out the gate.
Right.
And he would have been fine. And
I don't even think they would have waited till his rebuttal. I think once they found out, it would have been 6 to 8 games suspension.
And here's the kicker.
But now, Cheese, let me ask you a question. Who is he getting suspended by? Is he getting suspended by the NBA or is he getting suspended by the Brooklyn Nets?
Who?
No, we saying if he was in the NFL.
Right, if he was in the NFL.
If Kyrie was in the NFL?
If he was in the NFL. If he was the quarterback of the Green Bay. But see, here's the kicker.
Okay.
The Green Bay Packers would have never let him get away with what they let Aaron Rodgers get away with.
Right, because they would have been on him, scrutinizing him more to make sure that he got vaccinated or that his status was absolutely 100% known.
I totally agree. You're right.
The same way the Ravens were in the Lamar situation.
I agree.
That's my whole point. That's why I feel he should be out for the year.
I agree.
Hey, and like you said, Cheese, I believe Green Bay knowingly, allowed him to do this. Like, and that's the other piece of it. Like, he didn't take the protocols, but they also allowed him to not take the protocols, to not be masked up in interviews and in the locker room and so on and so forth.
100%.
So let me ask you a question.
Yep.
So there's a question of how much did Aaron Rodgers tell the Green Bay Packers? So there has to be something where a wink and a nod, we're gonna let you get. But then what about the NFL? I mean, and what I'm saying is there's only but so much that between Rodgers and the Packers that they could uncover before the NFL is like, whoa, wait a minute. That doesn't look right. and then the NFL has to be able to come in. And so what I'm saying is it possible that, that the NFL is even involved because of something that they should have seen and did not?
I believe that as well. I believe that as well.
Because because that one thing that was being said today on the shows was that Aaron was not going into these press conferences masked, whereas you're supposed to go to the Zoom conference, and Aaron wasn't doing that. So the NFL saw that, the Packers saw that. So in seeing that, I'm saying at some point, would the NFL ask a question like, "Wait a minute, this guy is he vaccinated or not? He's not wearing a mask, and he's not on." Ask a question like, "Wait a minute, this guy."
Well,
we're getting
what?
some feedback.
That was me. I'm positive.
But you know what? I don't think. See, here's the thing, and this is another reason why I think Green Bay knew, and maybe they didn't relay it to the NFL, because you can't tell me. And just like Neil said, if when Lamar Jackson says, "Okay, I got my shot," or "I got my shot," you can't tell me that John Harbaugh did not get the paperwork.
Right.
You
contact the doctor.
Yes.
Contact
you can't
the
tell
clinic.
me Aaron Rodgers. You can't say to me, "Coach, yeah, I got immunized," and you making $30-40 million a year. Okay, we need to get that paperwork official.
Exactly.
No.
Especially when they're giving out immunization cards.
Thank you.
Especially
we all got.
when they're giving out
got
immunization cards.
Come on.
Vaccination cards.
Exactly.
So either they didn't ask for, or he provided a fake one.
they literally wait on those guys hand and foot, whatever they need. So you can't tell me, and all the high-tech equipment and computers where they can't get on a live Zoom meeting with the doctor and say, "Yes, I'm sending over paperwork right now because Aaron was just immunized."
I think there has to be more information that has to come out in terms of exactly what the Packers knew and didn't know. I think it has to come out, because just listening to what you guys are saying, I'm like, nah, they guilty.
It's crazy.
They guilty. They guilty.
With respect to the whole vaccination thing, it's a political issue.
Now it is.
It's a political issue, first off. But as like with professional athletes, we know these guys are taking shots to play on Sundays. Like if you got your knee busted up, they shooting you up with something to get your knee together. They got you taking all kind of pills and all that for pain and all this stuff and the other. So, so when we using this vaccination, well, I don't know what's in it. That I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they're not within their right to not take it. But I mean, average Joe, we're not getting cortisone shots every week. Right. You know what I'm saying? We're not taking all these different pain medicines and all that stuff because we've been in the train wreck every Sunday to play the next Sunday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're not doing those type of things to play, right? So when average Joe got some concerns about taking the vaccination because they got concerns about what's in it or how their body gonna react to it, that's one thing. But we got these professional athletes, like I say, the majority of them are taking stuff because somebody told them to take it. You take this because it's gonna help you with that. You know what I'm saying? And it goes all the way back to, we just go back to the what was the lab that Barry Bonds and all them guys got caught up with? Balco.
Yeah, Balco.
Man, this guy was giving them guys stuff before they knew what it was. this is gonna help you to do this. This is gonna help you to do that. Then of course
all the time. Yeah.
he was experimenting with the
Yeah.
PEDs or whatever, and then it is what it is, man. So
Happens all the time. Yeah.
I just and I mean I'm a sports guy, so it's kind of frustrating when we mix the political and the sport sometimes. And like I get it, because then they say, well, we got the guys protesting, and I get all of that. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? We gotta get to the point where, just say what it is. So Aaron Rodgers could have avoided a whole bunch of conversation if he'd have just said straight up, yeah, I'm not comfortable with the shot.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right. And that would have did it all.
And he would have been able to play 17 games this year without no question.
Exactly.
Right.
And just follow a different protocol than everyone else.
That's it.
One for vaccinated, one for unvaccinated.
That's it.
Yeah. He could have avoided this whole situation had he just been 100 back in August when that first question was asked to him. So
I think he probably just wanted to avoid all of because it has become a political
right. He didn't want the Lamar treatment.
Yeah.
And so
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And so for him to say that he was immunized to immunize himself from further question.
Yeah.
And not just say, what it is. All you did was just delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you're right. You come out in August and say, you say what what it is, then you don't put the issue off. But he didn't want to.
Yeah. Right.
So and the thing is, I guess, he what he talked about today on the show is what he would have talked about back in August. And so maybe he didn't want to have that discussion, so he needed to get his mind right before because this is like this is training camp,
Yeah.
And so who knows? Only he knows why he didn't do what he didn't do.
But you know what? He has a track record. Aaron Rodgers,
he's no dummy.
Good a quarterback as he is, he does a lot of the subtle things, and he does a lot of subtle things in a bratty kind of snotty way. His mannerisms, the way he interacts with people, I noticed that for years and years. He's very snotty. He seems like he's very privileged.
Ask him about his brother.
Yeah. And the thing about it, okay, you go and you pout before the season starts. Your teammates wondering, they trying to do the best they can to, try to keep things under wraps. But at the same time, you putting them under the microscope. You didn't want to understand you the QB1, but when they got Jordan Love, you act like you ain't want to talk to the young man. It wasn't his fault he got drafted to you. But you got this young brother coming on the team. At least acknowledge him. He ain't do nothing to you. If you're confident that you're the MVP of the league and that you're going to be able to play, hey, but that's the kind of person he is. And then to come out and display this kind of bull crap is ridiculous.
I think he giving young fella the treatment Brett Favre gave to him.
And see, he should know better.
He hazing.
But see, you know what? He should know better. Number one, when he was sitting in that damn NFL draft, when he was pouting, because he wasn't picked.
Yeah.
Right, because he was falling.
Yeah. And he says, okay, I'm going to make people
way down.
I get that. He got that Randy Moss in him. I get that. But come on, man. It's some things you do, man. And then, and then it comes to find out a lot of the players that he got to leave there, linemen who are loyal to him, he threw them under the bus. They're gone. Their livelihood, taking food off their table. So it's just par for the course with him, man.
Well, I can promise y'all, Olivia Pope is in Green Bay right now.
She handling the situation.
I don't think she can help.
Right, she might have to kill a couple people. Because it's definitely probably more to the story. It's some people that got some information.
Yeah, it is, man.
that they gonna have to be
Yeah, I think
eliminated.
there's more. I think probably, in terms of what Green Bay knew.
Mhm.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
and what they turned a black eye to.
That's what I'm waiting
Mhm.
for. That's what I'm waiting for.
Now,
Right.
are the investigative journalists on the job, or was this going to be a 30 for 30 in about 10, 15 years?
Both.
When the whole truth going to come out then?
Well,
Nah, Adam
if they
Schefter
win a
gonna come out by
championship, it
Tuesday.
will be on 30.
Right.
You said by Tuesday?
Adam Schefter coming out with a report by Tuesday, man.
Hey,
Well,
Schefter the truth though, man.
But Adam Schefter going to have to, he
And
going to
Schefter
run
the truth, man.
he gonna run it by the Green Bay GM to see if this is
Right.
if the story is all right for you to run, for me to run.
Nah, I don't know, man. I don't. He seemed like he a straight up dude, man.
No, you
Yeah,
can't be
yeah,
all
well,
that straight up if you're going to your sources and like, hey man, check this out and let me know if there's any
Okay.
edit errors.
Nah,
I mean, no,
Okay.
No, that came out a couple
I
weeks ago.
understand. I understand.
yeah,
He did that with the
Yeah.
with the guy who was in Washington.
and
With
Gruden.
all the emails came out with John Gruden.
Yep,
He ran the story past
the owner,
Allen. I can't remember his first name. The GM, Bruce
George.
Allen.
Bruce Allen. Yeah.
He sent him the story and asked him, was this all right to run?
Right.
Good point. Good
Or
point,
edit it-
CB. Good point.
Edit it
Yeah.
as you see fitted.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Big no. But he still come out report by Tuesday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Then you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm listening, taking it all in. I'm not a real of that guy in Green Bay, that quarterback. I mean, the nerve of him getting upset because they drafted a quarterback.
Yeah.
What-
They didn't sound like he in Bin Laden compound.
Oh shit.
Is it coming through okay?
He on the old school house phone.
It's
Yo.
not real cheap.
Oh, hear them Navy SEALs
Yeah.
outside. God.
Man.
I'm working on it.
That's all.
We gonna send you a media specialist,
Oh,
D.
goodness gracious.
Seems like I need it.
Woo. Oh my God. Oh,
Buddy.
that's funny. We're in here hunkered down.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see how that whole thing play out
Mm.
in the next couple of days. So I guess he out for Sunday's game, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Who?
he is not playing.
Aaron Rodgers.
They're up against the Chiefs?
Yeah.
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 No, he's not playing.
Yeah, so he's out this week. So we'll see what happens with him.
Mm-hmm.
So next week. So big thing that I wanted to talk about
So
is the Colin Kaepernick series that was on Netflix. I know a couple of y'all told me that you've seen it. I watched it twice. I actually watched it once by myself, and then me and my daughter watched it over a couple of days. We just finished up for the second time for myself last night.
mm-hmm.
Just wanted to get some feedback on, him telling his story. Told it in his way, of course. And it was entertaining, with some truth sprinkled in it. You know what I'm saying? And we know with entertainment, you gotta make it presentable, and you gotta make people want to see it and be entertained by it at the same time. So I think the way that they presented it was pretty cool, because it wasn't all doom and gloom, and he presented it almost in a comical way. That you kind of could look at him as a goofy little kid, that was just trying to figure it out, trying to figure things out in a world where, he figured out that he wasn't accepted for who he was, so he had to kind of conform and become who people thought he was. He had to make people comfortable with who he was. You know what I'm saying? And so I've heard some comments about it. I know it's, you know, depending on who you're listening to, and I don't listen to a lot of people, media wise, but you know, there was some backlash, you know, of course, because he been catching it ever since the whole nailing stuff. He been catching flack with the media anyway. So the fact that he damn near right out of the gate compared to, you know, the NFL draft process to the slave buying
auction
process,
block, right?
you know what I'm saying? And that's not an original thought. It's not like he made that up. I've heard that for years. You know what I'm saying? So that's not like, oh, Kaepernick made this thing up. No, that's something that's been said for years. So that was one thing I've heard some pushback on. Another thing, we always heard about pushback from, you know, well, here's a guy that had you know, he was raised by white parents. He had a good, you know, middle class living. You know, he was raised, you know, in a middle class type of environment. No real issues or anything that we knew of. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the thing, nobody knew until this.
Right, but they tried to use that as an excuse why he shouldn't have been kneeling, because he never had those. He didn't live in the hood, and he didn't have, you know, those type of run-ins with the police that was being complained about. So, you know, him putting this part together, and there's room for, you know, with Netflix, there's always room for a season 2, where he could go a little deeper, you know, into the college and into his NFL experience and whatever. So, you know, season 1, because at least that's how it shows up on your screen, season 1, episode, whatever. So just give me some feedback, fellas, if you did watch it, you know, give me a little feedback, how y'all felt about the series and just kind of the story that he told. Just jump in.
I want to ask.
Oh, I mean, well, go ahead, Chief.
No, go ahead, Neil. I'm interested.
Oh, I was saying, you know, Kenny, we already discussed it. Like, I thought it was excellent. And my reason is because of the fact of what people were saying. Like, the whole narrative that you said is that he didn't have any issues growing up. And to me, that is that's the number one thing that people like to say. Like, just because of, I don't even know how to, right, just because of the fact that, you know, his situation, he was adopted and it's that, like, it's automatically assumed that he didn't have issues. Right. But clearly he did, regardless of who he lived with, because they didn't, you know, he wasn't born unto them. He lived with them. I mean, even though, you know, they took care of him, but in the world, nobody knew that that's who he lived with. You know what I mean? Right. And the story clearly illustrated that when they went to the hotel and this, that, and the third, like, he clearly had issues. Mm-hmm. So it's not like when he started kneeling that it was something new that, you know, he had no clue about, and all of a sudden he just decided to jump on this path. That's the part of it that I like, that, you know what I mean? Because it showed the struggles that he had. Right. And the telltale sign of it was like, yo, not only was it a struggle out in the world, but he had issues within his home, struggles within there. That's the other piece of it. Like the homecoming picture. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that right there, like, yo, that just blew my mind right there. Yeah. Yeah. So I really liked it because it showed, you know what I mean, another side of him. But I kind of already knew. I wasn't, you know, like, I know because we know, you know what I'm saying? Like, who you raise with or who you hang with doesn't, you know, people, like I told you, one of my high school classmates was like, we had the same, you know what I mean? We had the same upbringing. Like, how can you even say that? You know what I'm saying? Right. So I thought it was excellent. I'm just crazy because I'm hearing people say, oh, they watched the first episode and they can't get past it. He's corny. Like, how can you even make a you know what I mean, unbiased judgment on something that you can't even watch the entirety of it and then form an opinion.
Yeah, I watched the first two. I got a question for you guys. When you said he had some pushback about the beginning of the first episode, was it black people who was talking about, comparing it to the slave trade, or?
I saw it on a blog. So I was just reading the comment.
Mhm.
So I don't know who those people were, but I just know that there was pushback because of the whole comparison with slavery. And then of course it's the money. Well, there's millionaires and da da da, you know what I'm saying? So it's always, the money should oversee any negative feelings you have about it, because you're ready to go get all this money. So you overlook the fact that this is what happened once upon a time. So and the thing, one of the bigger things, that he said, kind of throughout is, as a black man, you always put in a position where you got to make other people feel comfortable with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's always,
like he said, why do I always have to be better?
Why am I the one that always got to make them feel better? Why is it that I want to wear braids in my hair? So they got a team rule that probably just was made up right then and there because the coach didn't like it, because he said something about hair hanging out. Everybody hair hangs out of the back of their head.
Especially
unless you got a buzz cut.
Right.
Everybody got hair hanging out the back. So, it just those little things, man. And like you say, when you are a child, and usually, people that are prejudiced and bigoted, and let me just for clarity, on both sides, right? On all sides, because it's more than just two sides, on all sides. Usually it's in a position where there's some type of authority, right? So we just take a school situation. The teachers and the principals and all these people, these are the authority figures in the school building, right? So if they're making the rules, if they're enforcing the rules, the hair rule was enforced a little more stricter with him, and he was a focal point of the team.
Right, because his best friend had long hair, and they didn't say anything about his hair hanging out.
But I'm not sure the best friend was on the baseball team.
And he was in the beginning, because remember when they got the hotel, when they was rapping in the hotel.
But
remember that was at a baseball thing.
But that happened. That happened in the first incident.
What?
Remember, the other kid was on the football team for sure.
No, but remember when they were in the hotel, that was a baseball thing. So he was on the team, like you say. Now, when they started enforcing the rule, I don't know if he was still on then, but if it was a rule, it should have been enforced, period, like you say, when he was on the team as well. If it was a rule. You don't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think the kid you're talking about wasn't on the baseball team at that point. I think because he was like the star. He was the star of the team, so he was, he gonna get all the attention.
Right.
So it basically come down to, do we want this kind of attention on our team? You know what I'm saying? From where they from. So basically, and then where they from seemed like it was like a little small town in California somewhere. Not a lot of black people, really for him to even connect with. Because he had to go to, I don't know how far, it was a bike ride away when he went to get his hair cut. I mean, when he went to get his hair braided.
Right.
But you could tell, I've been in the hood everywhere I've been at. When you're in the hood. You know what I'm saying? It just, the vibe is different. The atmosphere is different. You know what I'm saying? I could tell right when he pulled up on the bike. I said, all right, he in the hood now.
Right. You can tell by the grate on the door.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever thoughts did you have, Cheese?
No, I was just I was kind of interested because I've always been on record as far as certain things about Kaepernick that I really, really admire.
Mhm.
And some things about him that I just you know, disagree with, way he's done some things, but that's not about the series. I thought and I knew where it was going with the depiction of the slavery and prodding and pointing during, different combines or whatever. Um, I just think that that's a situation, and I don't know if I would equate it to slavery because I've been on record a million times where I support these young kids making this money for their family. A lot of them don't come from nothing, and a lot of these young kids their way out of any um, bad environment is through sports. So therefore, if you go into these multi-billion-dollar, million-dollar organizations, they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do to make sure you're healthy enough to play, to get on the field, number one. Then number two, they're gonna make sure that the product on the field is gonna be the best that they can put out there. Now you can, I mean, if you choose to equate it to slave, I don't do it because like I said, a lot of these kids, they're the ticket for the whole family. So that's their job.
Dang!
Am I
So,
back?
Figure it out. Now we can't hear you.
Now
but
you
yeah,
can't hear
and
me, right?
Yeah, you good. You good.
Oh, you
but
can
he
hear me?
was
Okay.
at one time in that situation, and then he went through it, and then he was going to be in that situation again because even after he kneeled and got up, ostracized, he came back. He's going to go through that whole kind of thing again. So I don't know. I think I admire him a great deal for a lot of the things he talks about. Um, I don't put him in, Muhammad Ali status because this shit was going down 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago. He brought it to light again. But I respect that he took a stand because it takes a lot of balls. A lot of people don't have that kind of not cut from that cloth where they're willing to sacrifice millions of dollars to stand up for what they believe in. So
I'm a go back to your beginning. So it's like so you were saying how these organizations are gonna do everything in their power to kind of protect their investment. If I'm gonna put all this money into this player, I'm gonna poke and prod and make sure everything is everything before we sign this dotted line. I don't have no problem with that. The issue I have and have had, even since like when I started watching that NFL combine stuff, is why are we parading these guys up on the stage in their shorts? You know what I'm saying? Why we can do that privately. If that's part of the process, that process don't need to be on TV. That part of the process don't need to be publicized for everybody to see.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
And I think that's more of the issue
I agree with that.
than because it's a lot of money on the line. So
yes,
talking about signing couple $1 million, life-changing money.
Yeah,
they're gonna investigate your health, your your whole everything. They're gonna dig into your history. They're gonna dig into your parents. They're gonna do a lot of background and digging into who you are and who is this person we bringing into this organization and who we gonna get this money to. I don't have no issue with that. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is the parading. Why is that gotta be on NFL Network?
Because it's money. It's money. If you see, I remember my man Landry for Washington about 10, 12 years ago. He came out there. This dude had an 18-pack, swelled up muscles. They knew what they were doing. It's about the NFL Combine. It's about the NFL Net Shield making money during the offseason. Because now you got the Washington Redskin fan base saying, this dude coming to us. So I don't look at that as parading slaves. I look at that as them trying to make some more money. They may be now exploitation
it's
of
exploitation.
the young man's body is you could say that. But it's definitely about that money.
No, it's definitely about the money.
About
But
the
what I'm
money.
saying is, yo, we watch the combine, so we watch these dudes running fucking cones. We watch these dudes doing shit that who cares? Who really?
Yeah.
I'm a sports fan. I like the games. I don't care fucking less what somebody 40 time is.
Kenny, that's
I don't
you.
care.
But Kenny, that's you. But the mainstream America, well, guys, where they know that's why they have that NFL network. It ain't now where in the off season these guys go work at Kmart.
Nah,
It's 12 months a year now.
but you know what them combines have done, and
Mhm.
all this extra access has done. Like I get the NFL, and I like the fact that they figured out a way to make money when it ain't no games to be played.
Yeah.
They have mastered the fact they got people,
yeah.
they got the fan bases hooked
Hell yeah.
24/7.
Yep.
It's people, it's people like, yo, so it's people that live and die off of every move.
Yep.
So once the season is over and the Super Bowl's over and everything is over, and they start cutting players, right?
Yeah.
People be losing their minds. Yo, we cut
Yeah.
this person, we cut that in February,
Yep.
right? And then in March, whenever free agency start, people start signing people. Man, my team ain't do nothing. We ain't did nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then so every cycle, whenever it's something when it's the draft, we didn't draft this player. We didn't move this back. We didn't do this. So the NFL has figured out how to market the product to the casual fan.
And that's
the
you
casual
made
fan.
my point better than me. That's
To
exactly
the
what I'm
casual
saying.
fan, because
Yes.
also what it did, also what that process do
Yeah.
is it put casual fans that's not like us. You know what I'm saying? That nothing is more important to me than the game. Like what's happening on Sundays, or as far as like NBA, whatever's happening in the game. The moves that they make, man, that shit come with it. But what that process has done is it make Joe Casual feel like he's some kind of an expert now.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you got to have a guy that can run this in the 40. Or you got to have a guy that can lift 500 pounds on the bench press 20 times.
Sure. Absolutely.
All that shit don't mean nothing if you can't block.
Nope. But guess what that means?
If you
But
can't
guess what that means?
tackle-
Another $1 billion on that shield.
but that's what I'm saying. And the NFL making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
You know, they writing these blank checks every year. You know, tickets to the games are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And people are mortgaging their house to get season tickets to these games, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so my thing, going back to Kaepernick and the whole slave block thing, right?
Yeah.
I think having that on TV is totally unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. If you want to really investigate, yo, they interview all of these guys. Anybody that come to the combine gets interviewed by each team.
Yeah.
And they are able to do X, Y, and Z with these players. Do that shit then. You know what I'm saying? Do that shit at that point. But you don't got to parade these guys up on stage like that. But it's not going to stop. Just because we talking about it, complaining about it, it's not going to stop.
Mhm.
It's going to go on every year. And people going to be tuned in. And people going to be commenting.
Yeah.
And they going to have this, that, I would say. But, you know, that's, like I say, it was, I mean, this first episode, damn near in the first 5-10 minutes of the show.
I already knew it was coming before the show started. I already knew where he was going with it.
Yeah. So did you get an opportunity to watch Dean?
Yeah, I did. I watched it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, I did watch it. And I do agree with the whole analogy of putting it up against the slave trade, the same thing. I do agree with that. I was feeling that. And even with the Gruden situation, and you can go through all sports. The dude with the Clippers, all kinds of stuff is coming out on the mindset of these people who own these teams and are running these leagues. I mean, it's coming out, and it's coming out strong. So I definitely agree with that analogy. This dude Kaepernick, man, I mean, in 2016, he sat down in a preseason game and didn't get up when the national anthem was played. And that was his first move that he made. He sat, and then he decided on the last preseason game to kneel. And then going through the season, he kneeled during the national anthem. Now, this is back in 2016. And you see all the stuff that has happened since then. The George Floyd situation that took place and all the things that have happened. When this dude sat down, and there was a whole bunch of other people that started kneeling behind him and following behind him, but it seemed like they all got a job back in the NFL. But this guy did not get a job back. And, you know, this thing of kneeling came from his heart. It came from his spirit. I think the show that came out, the documentary or whatever you want to call it, that came out on Netflix, it shows how he pretty much got to that point. This man has lived with white parents, white privileged parents. This dude know about white privilege better than any of them. He know all about white privilege. And he also knew that shit wasn't connecting to his spirit.
Their privilege wasn't his privilege, though. He knew that.
Exactly.
Good point.
And it didn't connect to his soul. So every time he went and connected with something black, somebody black, whether he was getting his hair braided or whether he stepped in that store, or whether he was dapping it up with the other team, the baseball team who had some black players, it resonated in his soul. This dude, man, they put that thing together. That thing, that girl, Ava DuVernay, that he connected with to put this thing together, they put this thing together. They are definitely showing you, showing us, showing the world that there's a huge difference in culture between black and white, and privilege between black and white, beauty, black and white. I mean, he went down the line, man.
Right.
And music, you know, music and everything. I loved it. I loved the show. I think this guy is and also it also a lesson in sticking to your guns, being who you want to be. He want to be a quarterback. Right. Everybody pushing him to baseball.
Baseball, right.
They throwing money at him. They tossing money at him. He's like, nah, man, I'm a quarterback. He stuck to his guns. That's a great lesson for everybody. Who you want to be.
That's good. Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah, be who you want to be, man. He stuck to it. And he certainly, I mean, even down to the food, man. They put some food in front of him. He was goddamn putting salt and pepper and shit all on the food and ketchup and everything. But when he went to see a homegirl, you know, at the prom, and they had that grub there, and she was like, oh, he's gonna put salt in. No, man, this shit is right, like it is. I'm just saying, man, this thing was a beautifully put together thing from a guy who grew up with white privileged parents. You know the thing about the speed and when he got pulled over, and the dad waving to the cop every time he go past, but they pull him over. This was a powerful program, and I know that a lot of people ain't gonna like it. You know, I know probably a lot of white folks probably look at that thing and probably have a big problem with it. But the dude really spoke volumes, man. I mean, even down to the hair. And you know, the hair thing was heavy, and they wouldn't let him braid his hair. He brought AI in the mix. Man, this thing was fucking powerful, man. This thing was powerful, man. This dude, Colin Kaepernick, if you had given him a job.
Exactly, Dean, I'm with you,
if
bro.
you had given him a job and let that man be the quarterback that he wanted to be and that he still can be, this program would have never came on. So you done denied this man a job, and now this is what you get for denying him a job. And he is blasting these people, man. This thing about the hair, you see how he wear that fro? Yeah. He came on that show in all black, with his hair out, letting people know that this is who I am. and they got a problem with hair. They keep cutting his hair off. You can't have braids. You got to be off the team. Cut his hair off. And he spoke. AI had problems because he came with the braids and the tats and whatnot. Man, this dude, Colin Kaepernick, man. I have.
And yo, you know what's crazy when you talk about the hair? Like when I was watching it, when his mom took him to get braided, I was like, okay, cool, she on board. But then she switched up on him. I was like, wow, she switched up on him.
She even called him a thug.
Yeah.
Right. And that, that right there, like, that's why I say, like, yo, that brother. Now, I ain't gonna say I went through what he went, but you know, I went to Catholic school. I was the only brother in my class.
Well,
for 2 years. For 2 years in Catholic school. So I know some of that, like, when you the only one, bro, that's pressure. That's pressure because they assume everything black is connected to you. You're the expert on it. And then everything bad that's black is projected onto you.
Yes.
Like it's you in a no-win situation.
Yes.
But like you say, man, he had like his mom's 1 minute they on his team and then the next minute they against him. Like, yo, that's psychologically
damaging.
Exactly. Because you don't know what you getting when you wake up. Are your parents they your cheerleaders or are they, you know what I'm saying? They the opposition.
Preach.
Plus, I wanted to say too, you know, Robert Townsend also had a part in directing this, so a lot of you know what I mean.
Yeah, I did see him in the credits.
I saw that. He directed at least one of them.
Right. So,
and I mean, and the thing about hair, man. I mean, that's one of the things that I mean, that's us, man. I mean, the black hair, man. That is us. And they keep talking about cut the hair off. No braids. I mean, hair is us. We the only people who got hair that defy the law of gravity. I mean, gravity pulls shit down all the time. Our
exactly.
Gravity or no gravity, man. And I mean, we have to be proud of that no matter what our hair look like, no matter what the texture of it is, man. We have to be proud. And out of all that beauty that he was around, so-called white beauty, he picked the sister. He was into the sister. He was into the sister, man, to let his parents know. No, this is beauty to me. They wanted him to hang out with Becky. He was like, nah, I'm with Keisha. This was a powerful show.
Exactly. And then they put the picture in the drawer. Didn't he put it up?
Put it in the drawer. But when he went out with Becky, they hung that shit up, man, on the mantle.
Exactly. Yep.
So I'm interested to hear what you guys say. Where would you, as far as Kaepernick and his stands or whatever on the things that he's speaking out against, where would you rate him and say the last 40 or 50 years in Black culture as a leader? Where would you guys rate him?
Well, I wouldn't rank him as a leader. But let me say this first, because we know leaders don't get ranked until they
get killed. Right.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, no. I mean,
history.
Cases,
nationally, if we talking nationally,
history would
right. They don't get ranked until our leaders.
You know, you got.
Well, say you giving him his flowers right now. Where would you rank him? I mean, in the last 50 years.
I think the stances he's taking are important. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an ongoing fight. That's a fight that's going to go on forever. You know what I'm saying? The problem, I don't even call it a problem. I don't even call it a problem, right? What I say is this: me looking at this series, right? This last couple. Well, I was like I said, I watched it twice, all the way through, in the last week.
Me too.
Yeah. Watching this series has taken me into his life. You know, it's giving me a bigger look into him and how he got to where he got to, right? And so, and that's usually the part that we don't ever get. We never really get the whole story. We kind of get jumped in right at the part where he become a story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then you hear it say, well, you know, as Black people, right? We harder on ourselves than anybody
That
outside
right
of
there.
us could be, right?
That right there.
So
Right.
he's mixed. So you know what I'm saying? He mixed, he light skinned. So I've been through this light skin shit all my life. You know what I'm saying? Not to that level, but I've heard that shit before. You know what I'm saying? That oh, you ain't this or that or other. You old light skin, whatever. Right? So my experience shouldn't equate to what your experience is because I'm light skinned. All right, whatever. That's your issue, not mine. Right? But it was always assumed that because he lived with middle class white people, that his life was a certain way.
Right.
You know
That he
what I'm
had the
saying?
same privilege that they had.
But see, when we talk about his life and his lifestyle, maybe he didn't have the struggle that people that grew up in South Central LA had.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He didn't have that struggle, but that don't mean he didn't have issues. You know what I mean? That don't mean that he didn't his being who he wasn't an issue for him. And when you look at this documentary or this series, he's showing you, hey, I didn't struggle. You know what I mean? I had food on my plate every day. You know, we lived good, we lived comfortable, all of that. But at the same time, you know, I'm a guy that's trying to figure out who the hell I am. You know what I'm saying? In the world where people that don't know how to tell me who I am.
So where would you guys put him?
Or
though?
don't accept me for who I am.
I can't.
I mean, it's got to be somewhere because I hear people all the time
no.
talking about.
Well, Can I say, Cheese?
No.
I say, here's my take
Go ahead,
on
I'm
him.
listening.
I don't think
I'm listening.
he's. I think he has an opinion and he's raised consciousness and awareness. I don't
Okay.
think he's a leader, and it's not. And honestly, I don't think the reason he's not a leader is not because he's not able to lead. I think it's more so because of us, like to piggyback on what Kenny said, because we're the hardest critics, because we can't accept the fact that somebody mixed, somebody that lived with white people who didn't struggle and come from the hood can actually know our full story and our full opinion and convey that to other people. Because just like I said, I hear people down and they talk about, oh, he's corny or whatever. But that's him. He's not corny because he's not trying to be anybody but who he is. Like Kenny said, he's been figuring himself out all along because he lived with white people. So he couldn't go to his parents to get a sense of who he was. Everything he had to figure out on his own. Now, he didn't have to do it in the midst of walking through the corner where drug dealers was approaching him to you know what I mean, join a gang or getting robbed or anything that. But when you have to figure out something clearly on your own, especially something that you have no basis for, that's a struggle. So I don't think he's a leader, but I don't think it's any fault of his. I think it's our fault as Black people, because I don't believe that the majority of Black people could ever look at him as a leader because of where he came from and because of how he came from. That's my opinion.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to gauge, you know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I don't really think, you know, he really even need to be a leader in the sense of a leader like a Malcolm or Ali or
right.
whoever.
And I agree with that as well. I agree with that as well.
I don't even think he need to even be in that realm. But if you think about the impact that Ali had and during his career, since Ali, who would you say has had a big impact on as far as being a leader or having an impact on you know, Black lives rising higher than where they've been? Who the leader? Who else since Ali has had more impact than what Colin Kaepernick has done from 2016 to now? If you can go back to Ali, since Ali, who has had more impact than him, than what he's done right now? I mean, I don't know, because first of all, you have to have some serious, you can throw, you know, guys in there like, you know, like maybe a Minister Farrakhan who's out there and speaking boldly, you know, but you have to have testicular fortitude to step out there and make a stance, because a lot of athletes who are on this platform, a lot of people like Oprah Winfrey who got money and have a platform and so forth and so on, they don't have the testicular fortitude to step out there to come out and be strong and be truthful about certain things. This dude, man, he came strong, man. I mean, to drop down on a knee, he's a National Football League making whatever money he's making, and he dropped down on his knee to because he got a problem with brothers being shot in the back. He's got a problem with police brutality. He's got a problem with all the issues that we're facing in this world, in this country. He dropped to a knee. And after he dropped to a knee, you start seeing other people drop to a knee. And you start seeing owners, that plantation owners, having problems with this dude dropping to a knee. You know, I mean, to me, and we haven't even put a period on the impact of this dude, because this Netflix thing has shown us that he ain't done. He ain't finished. You don't want to put the quarterback, the ball in his hand? Well, he done went and called the girl Ava DuVernay, who's right there with him making this thing, said he called her and said, hey, I want to do this. And she like, I don't know how we gonna make this interesting for the people to see. She said, until she started listening to him in her ear. And she said, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. This dude, man, is making a huge impact, man. He making a huge impact, and it ain't over yet. It ain't over. And no, he ain't the conventional leader who stand up in front of people, because most of them gonna get killed anyway when you stand up in front of people. We got to be a little bit smarter about putting leaders out front, and so the whole world can see a powerful dude out there, and he get gunned down or whatever they're gonna do to him, or they make him messed up like they made Ali messed up, or they, you know, fuck Richard Pryor up and so forth and so on. And Johnny Cochran, the man with this superior brain, and he come up with brain cancer. Okay, all right, yeah, sure, yeah. So I'm saying you take your leaders. It's like a school of fish. You ever see the school of fish under the water? The leader of the fish, when they turn that way, all the fish turn the same way. When they turn that way, all the fish. All you got to do is get into the leader's head, give him some money, do whatever, scare him, kill him, whatever, and the whole people are in a disarray. Colin Kaepernick, man, what he's doing, and with this Netflix thing, and I'm sure there's more to come, he got my respect. He has my total respect, and the man is fearless. The man is fearless, and I would not be surprised if he keep at it that he might be running into some issues.
Right.
Because that's how they do it.
BB, I see the wheels turning.
Oh man.
Well, yeah. Well.
You got CB.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, first I'll say this.
Let me take a drink on this one.
Yeah,
Me too.
Hold on, wait a minute, hold on.
Hold on.
Yeah. CB is box office. Hold on.
He took 2 sips. He hit the red cup on this one.
I had to. I'm sorry. So just a couple of things. So the first, just well, first let me just go back a second before I deal with this with Cheese's question. The question that came up in terms of Kaepernick coming from a middle class and questioning, I guess, his activism or whatever. Such a bullshit argument. It's a hollow argument, you know? I mean, because despite of what you lived through or your background, if on day 56, you are putting yourself out there and you committed, then day 56 becomes day 1. And that's all we fucking care about. The same thing where you have families, you have communities, families all over this country gave not one thought about activism, not one thought about the police until somebody in their family gets popped. And today they are committed activists against police brutality. Who gives a damn about 5, 10, 15 years that they was never involved? We don't care about that. What we care about is what triggered the spark, and now they engage, and now they're active. We don't care about when you were unconscious. What we worry about is now that you are here. It's day one. Now let's go. So I just
let me interject there though, CB. Who's we?
What you mean?
You said we care. We only care about day one when you get into the movement. Who's we? Are you talking about black people as a whole?
We are the people who he is fighting for. So if he is dealing with police brutality or any sort of racial injustice, and the people who he is working for or trying to benefit, and they're the ones who are criticizing him, saying, well, damn, your mama was white, or your daddy was white, or both of your parents was white. You're not validated. You're not legit. And I'm saying on day one, if he is fighting in their interest,
right?
I include myself. We are the we.
Right.
So those who are criticized, and then when they see that he is fighting in their interest, then it becomes less of an issue about what happened before he was conscious. It becomes more of an issue of what happens on day one.
I totally agree.
We can all go into our past and say when we were unconscious. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? And what cares is on day one, because I can look at myself. We can all look at ourselves and say what we did not know for X amount of time, for months or years or whatever. Okay, but now we know. So I'm not going to fault somebody on what they didn't know, and for whatever that time, I'm going to ride with them on day one. If they're fighting for my interests, I'm gonna fight for yours. We're gonna fight this thing together. Right.
I get what you're saying. You're right, and that's how I feel as well. But there is a whole lot of people who, like you said, that.
That's why.
Because you know what? Let me just say this, Ken. Because you know what's gonna happen if he's fighting and he gets a W, people are gonna jump on. People like winners.
Yeah, bandwagon, right?
Now, but when the W's come, now they jumping on.
But that's why them opinions, right? Those opinions that people that like say, well, what he was or wasn't prior to. That's why forums like this is important. You know what I'm saying? Because when all that stuff was being discussed, you wasn't really getting that side of the argument. You know what I'm saying? You was getting a bunch of people piling on. You may have had one or two people voice that. You know what I'm saying? That, you know what I mean? You got to look at it from another perspective, right? But see, you know, we all come from that perspective. You know what I'm saying? We give in that perspective of, yo, I can agree with some of what he's saying. I can agree with a lot of what he's saying. And then after watching the special, after watching the series, it gives me an even deeper look into who he is and why he chose the road that he chose. You know what I'm saying? And he was very clear saying that, yo, I wasn't always somebody's first pick. Even the people that gave birth to him. You know what I'm saying? They chose to pass him on. You know what I mean? To somebody else. So, man, making sense out of somebody's journey, you know what I'm saying, is something that we rarely do. You know, because like you said, we usually take the journey from where we see it. You know what I'm saying? And so and then we like to pick it apart when we get to know whether, and then that depends on whether we like the person or not. You know what I'm saying? You know, because then we pick and choose what we like about their journey and what we don't. You know what I'm saying? And so a guy like Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying, he was born to parents that put him up for adoption. He was raised by his family. And you know, so we're gonna take it from there. So we look at the family that took him and the circumstances that he lived in. You know what I'm saying? He had a good upbringing. He had lived in a good neighborhood. You know, he wasn't a criminal. Didn't have those issues. What is he complaining about? What does he have 4.0 have to complain about?
4.0 GPA.
Right.
Right. And then, but here's my issue with that though. I feel like those people that do that, I feel like that makes the progression take longer than it would than if we could just like like CB said, meet him where he is and realize that the win is for everybody and everybody assists to getting the win. You know what I'm saying? That's where my point
See,
is.
you
Like,
know what,
The
Neil?
thing is
But
that
you know what?
no one
crabs in the
is
barrel.
born an
They holding
activist.
them back.
Yep.
Huh?
No one.
The
No
thing
one.
I was
Yep.
saying is that no one is born an activist.
No
There's
one.
Right.
always a time when you're not.
Right.
And
Right.
then you become one, or you become more engaged or whatever, and then that's
Right.
your day one. Who
Right.
you know, I mean, the energy and spent on for those folks to spend on, you know, his time and
Criticizing, right? Criticizing
it's-
basically and
But you
tearing
know-
down when
but
we
you-
could be
you-
unifying and building each other up.
That's not gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you
Nonsense.
why. Because you go through the lore of the history of our people and the great leaders that we have. It's
Uh-oh.
never happened that way. You think about all the great leaders, especially in the 20th century. You pick them. They've had so many antagonists, even in their own race. They didn't jump on, like CB said. They'll jump on when the W's start. But you think about a lot of guys, and you know, a lot of things, and I think Miss Diane made a great point. Trump helped create this sort of conscious monster in Colin Kaepernick, because he made that about politics, about kneeling.
Mm-hmm.
When Kaepernick was clearly stating that it was about social injustice,
Right.
inequality, a flawed justice system, everything else that went into what we're dealing with from before 2016 up until right now. But to have these people go through this and say, okay, well, everybody's going to jump on board. No, they're not going to do that, because that's going to fuel the beast that's going to create guys like Kaepernick, Malcolm X, and CB's opinion, Muhammad Ali, because a lot of black folks didn't like them either.
That's right.
But when they start,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Finish
no,
your
go
point.
ahead. No, go ahead. I'm finished.
No,
Yeah,
what I
CB,
was
finish
gonna-
your point. We never let you finish your point.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because
My bad.
What I wanted to do was to go back to the question that that Cheese asked in terms of where would we rank
Mhm.
Kaepernick in terms of black leaders.
Mhm.
And you know, you my man, Cheese.
Mhm.
You know you my man.
Mhm.
But you know, I think that when we start getting into one ranking and two like
Comparing.
leaders,
Yeah.
like leaders, like me personally, I steer away from that. You know, so like I wouldn't even burn like one brain cell to think about where I would rank Kaepernick.
Mhm.
I would look more as to what work has he done,
Mhm.
and the work that he's doing. Because when it comes to leaders, we have to think about who's the one who's picking these leaders. Are we picking them, or somebody's picking them for us?
Right. Right.
And so the work is going to dictate all of that. We don't have to build that narrative. That narrative is going to get built naturally in the work. So he has a publishing company. He's putting people on, and so he's going to continue doing. You know, he's funding different companies. So he's doing different work, and his time is not up. He's still fairly young, so he's going to continue to do what he's going to do, and the work that he is doing is going to spread. We want it to spread wide. We want it to be wide and deeply. And so in the years to come, that question will be asked of the people in and of itself. Like it's not something that we have to ask ourselves now. It's just something that's going to be asked naturally in an organic way, whether it be 20, 30, 40 years from now, but it's going to be based on what he has done, not what he has said. It's going to be based on what he has done, and it's going to be based on the number of people that he has affected.
Yeah.
And those people are going to be the ones to say, this is what he did. This is his legacy. And then that's what will build up whatever narrative in terms of being a so-called leader, but it's going to be based on his work, and it's going to be based on people working to continue his legacy. So I wouldn't even begin to entertain the question in terms of ranking or even like black leaders.
Yeah.
You know, I think as a whole, we need to just shift our thinking from that and look more or focus more on the work.
Work, absolutely.
The impact of the work on people within communities and how it's spreading. And that's what we want to look at. We want to look to one another in that way. And so I just wanted to say that in terms of the question. Going back to the documentary, you know, I was talking to my son about this the other day, and I said, you know, for me, the and I think Dean or Neil touched on it. For me, the documentary was on, say, like two tracks, two levels. One, clearly, you know, about race. On the other, about, say, like personal perseverance, and where, you know, particularly when it came to, you know, this, he pitched like a no-hitter while he had ammonia.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
He wanted football when everybody was telling him baseball, and he's a young man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's incredible impression. ESPN said, "What is this guy thinking?"
Right.
He didn't care what anybody said. It was about his passion. So for me, when I watched it, my takeaway was, of course, this is about race, and it's also about personal passion and going for it, you know. But what I find interesting though, when we first opened up, or a little bit after we opened up, and talking about the documentary, we spoke about the slavery question, right? And I remember, I don't know, it was like a few days ago. I don't know, maybe it was like a day or two after the documentary dropped, because that was the #1 item. That was trending. That was it. So when I think it was Cheese that asked the question, like, where did that come from? I don't know where it came from, but it was like, it was all over. Like that was the one a narrative from the documentary that resonated, and we all know why. But the question is this: like I said, you know, for me, it was about race and it was about personal redemption. There was many episodes in that documentary about race. The job interview, white privilege, even, and I remember I wrote a note to myself, and I wrote to say how AI's braids upset the paradigm. And Dean mentioned about the hair. And how many times do we hear about a black man or a black woman's hair being the focus of some issue? Yeah. Because our hair, I mean, more, you know, just like our skin, our hair, we stand out. And so in the NBA, when everybody's wearing whatever they're, and AI, man, fuck that, man. I'm going with braids, man. Shit, man. This is what I'm going to.
Jordan was rocking the ball head.
He came with the tats and braids. And then I believe, and a big fella, you tell me if I'm wrong, I believe after that, David Stern said, oh, okay, you know what? Dress code. Everybody with a dress code.
Yep.
You want to wear braids? Okay. You're going to wear a jacket. You're going to wear a tie. You're going to wear it coming into the bus, coming off the bus, getting out of the hotel. And all of that was put in place because he wanted to have cornrows.
Yeah, that was a catalyst.
What AI said, I want to be me. And what the world said, and what the white world said, oh, you want to be you? Okay, let us show you.
That go back to because the largest consumers of those NBA games are white folks. You know what I'm saying? They buying the ticket. So it's about making them comfortable. I mean, at the end of the day.
But think about it's the narrative though. It goes back to that whole thug question. If you're wearing your pants off your ass and your hat backwards, you a thug. Meanwhile, I could be like on the weekend just going to Home Depot, but my job, I'm pulling in 150,000. But you don't know that on the weekend because I'm just going to Home Depot, I'm just picking up something. Just like this.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a gray head thug over there. Look, who the fuck is he?
CB, your point about leadership and the black
What you think
leader,
about that?
I think what you said was fantastic. I think it was on the money.
Before you dig in too much, I just want to give a shout out to the New York Knicks. They came back and beat the Bucks.
Oh man.
Damn.
And beat them easy.
I told you.
And beat them easy.
I told you it wasn't over.
Back to the regular schedule program.
Yeah, I think what you said about leadership, and I also totally dug what Dean was saying about his feelings on Kaepernick, and both of you guys have made, and I like to, me, toss the fishing rod out there, and I think you guys, hey, you busted down. I think what you guys said was I gotta tip my cap to both of you, and that's what I enjoy about this forum is when you guys say stuff, it makes me think, and it makes me rethink. That's the more important thing about certain subjects or certain things you might say. You be like, you know what? Damn, he was right. So you guys are on the money with that.
Yeah, I just find it, interesting how, you would think the day after, I guess it dropped or whatever, and there was all the commentary on the internet and blogs and such, you would have thought that his six-part episode, six-part documentary that was all on slavery and the NFL Combine.
Right. Right.
Like that. That's what you would be led to believe reading what you read like the next day.
Right.
Because I did not read, in the same sense that it was a searing indictment on racism in America.
Yeah.
In all different facets.
Yep. And that's why it's so important. Do your own research.
Yep.
And stop allowing people to steer your opinions.
Right.
Based off of fear.
Critical thinking.
You know what I'm saying? Because we not critical thinkers as a whole.
We got to think
about everybody.
Be independent. We have to be critical thinkers and independent thinkers.
Most people want to be told what to think. They want to be told. I should think.
It's easier that way. It's easier that way.
Yeah, because when you go ahead. A lot of times too, even with the whole race issue, is that we don't want to acknowledge the truth. If I acknowledge that this happened, that's somehow going to eliminate, me from the conversation some kind of way. So we just going to keep saying that. Let's get over that. Let's just move beyond that. We don't really have to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Where it's easy for you to say that because you didn't suffer the effects of it. You know what I'm saying? For hundreds of years, you didn't. You and your family didn't suffer the effects of it. You know what I'm saying? So we can just gloss over it and let's not talk about it. And then it's the big thing now with the critical race theory. We don't want that taught in school. We don't want to teach that in school. We don't want to do this, right? It's because it's easier to just say, and my mother made that point about trying to erase history.
Yep.
By not teaching it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's so important now. I think it's even more important now that we really dig into our young people and really give them the real history. Because at some point they'll never get it in school. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not sure that they're getting it now. And I know what I got when I was in school. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get half of what, I only got a third or fourth of really what the history was. You know, we got the nuts and bolts, the Dr. King, the Frederick Douglass, you know, the guys that was deemed safe to talk about. You know what I'm saying? We didn't really get the nuts and bolts of it. And so I think it's important, you know, for conversations like this. I know Cheese on your podcast, you dig in on some stuff and they go in, you know what I mean? So like, yo, and that's the reason why we got these forums, we got these opportunities to bring topics forth that's important to us. You know what I'm saying? I'm a sports guy, the sports mix. You know what I'm saying? And I said, I'm trying to stay away from the political stuff. But in the case that it bleeds in, you know, we gonna tackle it. We gonna dig in on it. And you know, Kaepernick is a controversial figure because he took a stance in a place where, you know, people like you say, since Ali haven't really been taking stances. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't want to put him on Ali's level because I think his story is incomplete. You know, it's not a complete story yet. We still don't know what's going to become of the stance that he takes, or to him telling his story. And like you say, there's room for another part. You know, there's room for him to tell more stories, or be the person that brings stories to us. That's not his stories. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, we don't really know which direction he's going to go with this. You know, but like you say, taking it to Ava DuVernay and presenting it in the way that they did, I thought it was powerful. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was powerful. I thought it was very well done. Like I said, I watched it twice. And I watched it with my 15-year-old daughter. And she enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? If she was talkative, I would bring her on here and let her talk about it. But she would get on here and say a damn word.
The thing about that miniseries, or I mean, he even was dropping. I mean, he was giving props, man, to people. Man, he talked about the brother who played baseball,
Romare Bearden.
You know what I'm saying, man?
The artist.
He talked about that brother and put him out there. Somebody that I didn't know about.
Yeah, I never heard of him.
And so
I heard of him.
He's dropping jewels all throughout.
Romare Bearden.
What's the name? What's the brother name?
Romare Bearden.
Yes, that brother right there. He put that out there. He talked about DJ Kool Herc mixing, and even the record that my man was mixing. Did y'all catch that? Who he was mixing?
That was James Brown, wasn't it?
James Brown. It was James Brown.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
I'm saying, man, all throughout these episodes, man, he's dropping, man, Nina Simone. He's dropping jewels, man, pearls out there for people to grab onto and go back. And you know, he talked about AI. He was bringing it, man. He brought it in this thing, man. And so really, when it comes to this guy Kaepernick, you know, anytime you want to try to understand somebody, you just what that word says, understand. Basically, you have to stand under and go down to see what's upholding this dude. So this program is telling you what's upholding this dude. You get a chance to stand up under and see the foundation of this guy Kaepernick. And his foundation is a foundation of being around, not being loved properly, being around. He was adopted. His mama didn't want him. I don't even know if he know who his daddy is. He go to these being adopted. He wasn't even the first choice there. They was trying to adopt somebody else who I believe was white. And they said, oh, we got Colin. And they get Colin. So he stopped and let y'all know, look, I'm letting y'all know I've always been a second choice. I ain't never been nobody's first choice. He grew up in that environment of people who didn't understand him. People who didn't understand him. The man was a 4.0 student through high school. He was 4.0 through Nevada. You know how hard it is to be a 4.0 student in college and you playing football? This dude's mind is brilliant. He ain't stupid. And him growing up, he said he didn't have the wisdom, the knowledge, or anything to fight what was happening to him. But he was dealing with what he was dealing with, not with his mind, but with his spirit and with his soul. So he grew up just knowing that this shit ain't right. They don't understand me. But when I went over there to get that hair braided by that sister, and I went to the mall with them and with the mama, I was feeling that. I was feeling
when
that.
he went in and grabbed, they was like, "You want something to eat?"
You want
Big,
something?
He
you know
was
what?
like, he gonna
yeah.
put salt on it. He's like, "Nah, this don't need salt." Right.
I have a
Like
question.
you say.
Man. This is what his being. This is his spirit
Right.
talking to him. He grew up listening to his spirit. You can be a baseball player, dude. They throwing millions of dollars at you. No, his spirit. His spirit said, I'm a quarterback. I'm gonna be a quarterback. I don't give a damn about that $1 million they throwing at me. This dude grew up, man, with his, his GPS was his spirit. And that's a little bit more powerful than using your mind to guide you, because your mind is fragile. Your mind, a lot of times, rely on the past. Your mind, a lot of times, rely on the future with imagination. So that's the thing about the mind. You either talking about memory or you talking about imagination. Memory is the past. Imagination is the future. Your spirit and your soul is in the present. This dude lived off of his spirit, and he was in the present. And we were able to stand under. If you had a chance to stand under those World Trade Center buildings in New York and see how much fucking concrete and steel that go down deep into the ground, how many stories down into the ground they put that concrete and that steel, then you can understand why that building can go so far up in the sky and stand like that. And then you also can understand that no little small ass little fucking planes can bring it down. Understand what's up under it. Now getting back to Kaepernick, that's just a little side order there. Getting back to Cap,
hold on, Dave.
This brother Cap, man, there's hundreds of players in the NFL. If you look at black players, whoever, and nobody ever went down on their knee like he did. So people were looking at him and they want to know, what was it that made this dude, out of all the other people who ever played any kind of sport or anything, what made this dude go down on his knee? That miniseries is giving you a peek into his foundation of what made eventually lead to him dropping down on his knee.
Hold on,
and
Stephen A. calling me. Hold on.
Hold on. You can even look at his hair and how he had his fro out so big. That's telling you a story that he was denied his hair when he was young. So now he's overcompensating by wearing his fro so big because of the denial that he said. And I love the part where he said it took him 14 years to ever get his hair braided again.
Exactly.
And then they brought the sister out who braided his hair in the pit. In the little miniseries, she came out and started parting his hair like she was going to braid it again. This was some deep, deep stuff that was beautifully put together. I was blown away.
Hey, Big fella, can I toss a question out, or I guess
let me say something real quick before you throw the question out.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, like, to piggyback on just the series alone. Like, my thing about it is, and this is where I feel like people that are judging him per se are going to miss out, because not only was it educational, it was eye-opening, but it was also entertaining. Like, I enjoyed watching it. Like, if this was not a Colin Kaepernick story, if this was something completely made up, just a series, like, I would have enjoyed watching that. And I feel like people gonna miss out on that aspect of it, and they're gonna miss out on the information, the jewels, like Dean said, that he's dropping. because of personal opinion or denial or whatever. But it was excellently written, directed, and portrayed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
Agreed.
that was
First
just,
two were
like
good.
everybody involved put that together masterfully.
Yeah, first two were good. I did see the first two.
That's what I said. That's what I said in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It was very entertaining, and they presented it in an entertaining way.
Right.
And it was you could laugh at it.
Yeah, like when they had the little skits, you know what I mean? Remember the brother with the dreads at the interview? Like even the little off top, like, yo, that was just to kind of probably to mellow it out and make it not so serious, but it also proved a point. It you know what I mean? It added to whatever, was going on.
They always nowadays they flavor medicine for the children.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can take it in. People don't, back in the day, they used to give you some of that medicine when I was a little boy that tastes terrible. And you be just like, They got wise and said, let me flavor this thing so kids don't have a problem taking medicine. That thing was flavored. That miniseries was flavored so that you could take it in because it was funny
Quite
stuff.
an analogy, yeah.
Like you said, they flavored that thing, man. So you can, there's some Novocaine involved here.
Dean on fire tonight. Oh shit.
Once he got the camera right.
Yeah. Once he got out of the Bin Laden
Took
tunnel,
me a while.
he's on fire.
I had to get out of the hole with who y'all had me in the hole with? Oh no. Bin Laden, somebody said.
What was you about to say, CB? I was waiting for.
Yeah, I made a observation, and my memory was triggered by Dean and then Neil when y'all brought up the when Colin was getting his hair braided.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know if you saw the same thing that I saw, or I just want to like hear your thoughts on this. So when his mom took him to the shop to get his hair braided, and they walking into the back, and he's looking like, oh shit, man, like I'm here, I'm about to get this done. Mom comes in and mom talks to the sister who's gonna braid the hair, right? So mom takes a seat, and the sister says, "Mom, it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute." And the one thing I noticed was there was no like tension. You didn't see like the black people who were in there like giving eyes to the mom, or the mom feeling in a way where
uncomfortable or threatened.
Wrong here.
Yes,
like they don't want me. Like they don't want me here. Like
right.
You didn't see that.
No.
Right.
And then the second time, when mom brought Colin to the sister's house,
and
then saw that she had a girlfriend there, and then they go into the house and they see all the food. What did the sister say? Oh, go have a seat. Make yourself at home. You want something to eat? There wasn't no attitude. It was like, you welcome in. Make yourself at home. It's a white woman in a black neighborhood in a black home.
We are naturally giving people.
And black people, and they didn't say, they didn't make it feel any which way. Because, I mean, it didn't matter who the mom was, because Colin was black.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
And so I just want to bring this out to a larger point.
So CB, let me. I feel like that was the turning point. That was when the moms turned on them, because you see how enthusiastic she was when she took him to the shop.
Yes.
But I feel like at that point, when she took him to the house, that's when she realized that he was connecting with those people. That he was no longer Colin, our child. And then, I mean, granted, the rap music, it was the cursing and some of that. So some of that as a mother probably played into it as well. But I really feel like she saw the connection. The way he sat down, grabbed that plate of food and ate. And that's when she became against the braids against the, you know what I mean, trying to push him to the sister, taking the sister to the dance, and that because we want to keep Colin in our world. We don't want Colin to be the typical, you know what I mean, not typical brother, but we don't want Colin to be the brother. We want Colin to be our Colin. I feel like that was the turning point in it.
And it was a great turning point. I mean, that's an excellent. I mean,
Great point.
CB, and they're bringing this
right,
up
because it was the turning
point
point for him and the turning point for the mother.
It was, and in fact, she took him to get the braids. Of course, it wasn't really her idea. She's piggybacking off of him getting the braids before,
right?
But she took him to get the braids and everything, and that was like a real big thing. He was so excited about that, but eventually, she wound up calling him a thug because of the braids that he had in his head that she took him to get.
Right.
And she's like, because you look like a thug.
But it wasn't that he looked like a thug. It was because he was identifying with his blackness.
He was identified with his blackness.
Kenny mom put, and she said she lost control to something she could never understand.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Exactly.
That's a great
point.
Man.
She knew at that point that she could not fight against his spirit.
Right. Yeah.
She couldn't fight against his spirit.
The biggest problem was thinking that she could be able to control it in the first place. If you go in understanding that this is something that has to happen in its own organic way, then it's going to be what it's going to be. But once you have the mindset and the approach that I got to control this in some way, because I want the outcome to be a certain way. So in order the outcome to be the way I want it to be, I gotta do a little bit of this. I gotta do some controlling here.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it got too much. It became too much.
Yep. Shout out to my man Ben Collins.
Man, that's crazy. Y'all bringing the heat tonight, man.
It is. It's tough, man. And I want to just throw out there, just for people to kind of marinate on, is that Kaepernick come from that kind of environment. His upbringing, the biracial thing, and so did Barack Obama come through the same scenario, very close, and you can see that both of these brothers were very intelligent.
Yeah, I agree.
Both of them went through things.
100%.
Barack made it up to the presidency.
Look.
I totally agree.
And you see where this brother is taking his journey.
So
here you got two people going with the same thing, and you see where Kaepernick, of course, he's an athlete, and Obama is a politician. But you see the difference in hair, and Obama is always clean shaven because that's what the politicians tell you to do. That's the culture. You cut all that off. When you rise up into politics, you don't none of them even want to have a mustache or anything, but that's the way they teach you to do. So, you can look at this and see that how both of their lives kind of start out sort of similar, but they go on different tangents. And I'm feeling both of them.
Kaepernick went on a better tangent.
Say that again, CB.
I said Kaepernick went on a better tangent.
I'm feeling Cap more than I am Obama.
Thank goodness.
Hey, you know what?
Thank goodness.
Don't.
Dean, you had me scared there, man.
Yeah.
You had me scared.
No, don't worry about that.
No, yes, man.
I know. And I'm just saying it. I said it in a way that I don't get the Obama people upset.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Dean.
Yeah. I just don't want to get the Obama people upset.
But
so I'm saying it in that kind of way.
Why though? Why?
Well, because
I'm not understanding that, Dean. You have to help me understand that, man.
Dean knows. Okay. Dean knows that we're friends.
Dean speak for himself, Cheese. Nah, man. We know how you roll, man. We know you be on boy. We know that, but Dean, I expected more from you, Dean.
Okay.
I needed more from you, man.
Hey, CB, you're right, man. I mean, I can go in on Obama, and because I have some deep issues with that brother. I have some serious issues with Obama.
That was not apparent 2 minutes ago. That wasn't
Yes.
apparent, man.
No,
You was
no,
giving the man way more flowers, man. You gave him 1, 2, 4 bouquets, man.
no.
I think he
hold on.
deserved all 4
You gave
bouquets.
him 4.
I think he did.
Listen, hey, CB,
No,
look,
he
I'm
didn't,
saying that
man.
both of these guys came from the same type of
They
beginning.
don't let him.
Now,
Yeah.
Obama made it to the presidency. That's what he
Right.
did.
Come on,
You know,
man. You're doing it again to me,
listen,
man.
I'm not, but I'm telling the truth. But I'm
Thank you,
telling the
Dean.
truth.
Thank you.
He made it to the
Charles, how you gonna
presidency.
make Dean
Now,
feel something he don't feel?
Don't co-sign, Cheese. Why you co-signing, man?
I'm not co-signing. I'm just
No,
speaking
Cheese
truth.
is. Cheese is co-signing.
Oh, he made it to the presidency. Obama made it to the presidency. He did. Now,
That was wonderful.
now
did great.
You know, he made it to the presidency. And that's what I said. No, I'm not, you know,
Dean, you ain't
this
trying
ain't
to.
about Obama, but
No,
I
it's-
just threw that out there to
Hey.
let people marinate on that. So one of these other shows, or maybe on Cheese's show, you know,
Yeah,
he
it's
probably
about black.
already
It's
got
about
into
black
it.
excellence. It's about black excellence.
It's-
I
it's-
totally
it's-
agree, Dean.
Yeah, both of these guys were intelligent dudes with the mindset.
Thank you.
Barack grew up in a household where he even talked about his grandmother
Yep.
in that one speech because he knew that his grandmother was a racist.
Yep.
And he grew up under a racist environment.
That
in
was even harder.
household.
That was even harder.
So he dealt with it the way that he dealt with it.
Are we still talking about
Kaepernick is
BO?
dealing with
Yeah.
the way that he dealt with it. So they dealing with it in two different ways, but
Yep.
at the same time, both of them are going down
man.
and will be remembered.
It's not mine,
And see,
man.
this is the
theirs,
thing I have.
man.
That's it.
Look at that BO shit.
This is
You
the
know
thing
how
I
I
have.
roll.
See, and this is
Me
our
and you.
problem now
We
as black culture. See, they clearly stated eloquently, far more eloquently than I could, how Barack Obama and his imprint on the United States in this century, you can't underestimate that. Not only that, I mean, sometimes you just gotta give them flowers, and like you said, CB, you know, we're gonna let time dictate how things go.
What's the name of it? What's the name? Sports Mix. Sports Mix.
I'm just saying, I thought Dean was great.
Sports Mix.
All right, my bad. Hey,
Coach.
Hey.
Hey, Coach. Boy, you know how to bring them. You know how to pick the right people to bring them to the table, boy. That's one thing I always said about Coach Kenny, boy. He know how to bring the right people to the table. And
tell you what.
And if Kenny fucking with you, you got something going on with you. That's how I look at it.
I tell you what, man, they had to talk to some intelligent brothers like you. I'm betting no bullshit, man. It's great, man. I'm telling you. It's great. It really is.
I think I laughed for a solid the last 10, 15 minutes. My head is hurting.
Bruh, hey Kenny, you gonna have to get the bell, bro. When it start getting out of control, ding, 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 pull it back, bro.
B-O.
So, I seen it. I'm looking at CB the whole time. As soon as he put up Barack Obama, I said, up.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know CB. I didn't know.
Dang, you shouldn't have to change the way you feel.
No, I'm not.
Charles don't feel the same
I'm
way.
not.
Hey.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
Why you co-signing, Cheese?
Yo, why you?
Hey, big fella. You gotta have some kind of like sound filter on the Zoom so that when BO come up, we don't hear shit.
All right, I won't say nothing. Hey, I won't say nothing. Hey, but
we
Kenny,
never know what Cheese is trying to say.
hey Kenny,
What Cheese said?
hey Kenny, read what Ben Collins just put on there. I'm not gonna say anything.
Said Obama beat them at their own game.
Yep. Yeah.
You
I'm not saying nothing. I don't want to get put off the show. I'm not saying that.
You know what? I probably made a mistake by even bringing Obama's name up. That's what I'm saying. I made a mistake by doing that.
Man. Hey, it's toothpaste, man. You can't put it back in the tube, son.
I can't pull it back now.
You can't pull it back. It's
I
out.
can't pull it back.
Nah, Dean, don't do that.
Next time you use Derek Jeter.
Nah. Nope.
But see, but when it comes to us and the way we deal with white supremacy and dealing with, being looked at as less than human. What was that? 3/5 of a human. They gave us that, and they only gave us that because they was looking for some numbers so that they can win the election. So the 3/5 was for a purpose.
Point.
That was for a purpose. That wasn't just a number they pulled out the sky. That was for a purpose of making sure that the people down in the South, if you 3/5, it was something about the population. If you got
that's what it was. It was for representatives, so that the South wouldn't be outrepresented in the House and in the Senate.
Absolutely. Wow. So that number just didn't get pulled from the sky. So we were looked at as 3/5. We were really less than that. We were given that for that reason. So, but we look at this thing of being in this world, which is a white supremacist world, and we attack it in different ways. And I know there are ways that we may not like, and we may really get pissed at some people by their techniques. But there are people who are working, man. And I look at it like a brother like Deion Sanders, primetime.
Yes.
Deion is down at an HBCU, bringing his power, bringing his strength, bringing everything that he has to a Black university, and which is uplifting the HBCU. And we got all these talented athletes that's making Alabama great, that's making Penn State and LSU and so forth and so on, and basketball and football, the big money sports. It is the Black athlete that are enriching these colleges. If these athletes just went to Howard and Morgan and so forth and so on, those schools, I mean, can you imagine, how much we love the Fab Five, Jalen Rose and Chris Webber. Can you imagine if the Fab Five went to Howard and did what they did? That's letting you know that if these brothers coming out of high school could ever get it together and say, come on, y'all, let's go to Morgan, let's go to Howard, let's go to A&T, and bring up these Black colleges, because those sports are the big money sports. And it's your Black asses out there who are the prime time athletes in all those sports. So we need to start thinking, to me, like that, when our young folks can say, "Oh no, I'm going to Howard, man. I'm going to Howard and uplift our Black universities and get them on the map." And you can see a Howard battling for a national championship or ranked in the top 10. And Deion Sanders is going that route, and he's working that. So I have the utmost respect for what Deion Sanders is doing.
That's a good segue, because I just saw something today or yesterday where his name has come up in another job already.
A major job or mid-major job?
This is Texas TCU. Well,
okay.
No, one of the Texas schools. So any
Texas
football
Christian
job in Texas, I don't know which. It was one of the Texas schools. Any football job in Texas is a big job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And the fact that he's doing what he's doing because he's still building. He haven't even really accomplished nothing at Jackson State yet. But he's building, and he brought that spotlight. Like Dean said, he brought all his power and influence to little old Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? And Jackson State, TCU, it was TCU. Ben
Texas Christian.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. So just the fact that he's doing what he's doing at Jackson State, and this is what we do. They're gonna throw a bag of money at him. They're gonna throw a lot of stuff at him to pry him away. Now
he ain't going nowhere.
At these judges. I don't think he's gonna leave, but this is what's gonna happen. With any level of success, the next thing is, all right, let's get him over here. Let's see if he can bring the spotlight that he's got. Sanders probably got a couple million followers on all his social medias. So that's big now. So he's gonna bring them with him. You know what I'm saying? So they see people like that. They looking at, okay, you can throw this bag of money at this guy.
Hey, big fella, can I ask you a question?
Our situation. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? Is there an expectation from TCU that with Dion being over there at Jackson State and him building the program over there, of course, him being like the football coach there, there's a pipeline that he is either building or is taking part in. And so my question is TCU looking at him like, well, damn, man, you know, over that part of the country, there's a lot of talent. And he could feed us because he is locked in that area. He has a pipeline. We can extend that pipeline here. And you know, so is that part of their approach? They're thinking like, you know, it's not just Dion, it's the network and the pipeline that Dion is going to bring, which includes you know, high school athletes, other athletes, their agents, and so forth.
Yeah, because Dion is a Texas resident, number one. So he coached high school football in Texas. So he's real familiar with the high school scene in Texas. He's from Florida.
He played with the Cowboys.
They play with the Cowboys. He's from Florida, another hotbed of high school football that's recruits. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the whole South. You know, he basically is in SEC territory at Jackson State. So absolutely, you know, his resources and his ability to recruit is huge. You know, it just based off of who he is. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Just being who he is. So, because I remember a couple years ago, his name, and maybe he threw it out there for the Florida State job.
Yep.
You know, once Bowden stepped down, or they forced Bowden out.
I remember.
They didn't have maybe 4 different coaches since that point at Florida State. And I know Dion, maybe he threw his name out there, or his name kind of came out. Maybe he should be a possible coach. But at that point, it was he don't have no college coaching experience. You know, he just a high school coach. He a media guy. This, that, and the other. So now he got some college coaching experience under his belt.
Right.
He done some recruiting.
Right.
He's the CEO, because that's what college football, head football coaches are. They CEO, the face of the program, you know. So he's shown that he can do all of that. At Little Jackson State is what they, you know, that's how they're gonna look at it. He's doing this at Jackson State, and he only been there for a year.
Right.
Let's remember that.
Right.
He only been there for I think 1 calendar year, because they had a spring football season because of COVID, and now this is his first, you know, full regular season.
Right.
So he only been there like a year and a half, going on 2 years. I remember they hired him during COVID.
Right. I remember that.
They hired him during the COVID. So he only been there less than 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know what the win-loss record. I know they won more than they lost this year.
Oh, I think they 8-1.
Yeah,
7-1.
So he's showing that he can get it done, you know, coaching. Right. He's showing that he's more than just a personality, that he actually knows football and he can coach this thing, which is a big stigma against a lot of black coaches. You know, that number one, can you be the face of the organization? Can you be the face of the program? You know what I'm saying? It's like the guy that's at Maryland right now. I'm blanking on his name. Loxley. So he was not the first choice. You understand? And matter of fact, he probably wouldn't be there if the guy from Michigan didn't get fired for the kid Jordan.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. The kid that passed away in the week.
Yeah. In the camp.
Yeah. And he may not be there if that never happened. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that, and that's probably, I think that's his 3rd time at Maryland. He was assistant a few times. He was the interim coach one time.
Under Ralph.
He was the interim coach. He had a head coaching job somewhere else at one time that didn't go well. He was on the staff with Nick Saban at Alabama.
Offensive coordinator.
And if you remember, there were a lot of recruits that was basing their decision on him getting that Maryland job or not, whether they were going to come there. And once he didn't get the job and went to Alabama, a lot of them guys went over there with him, including Stephon Diggs' brother, who's the cornerback right now for the Dallas Cowboys. That's doing real well.
Yes.
He was coming to Maryland.
Yes.
Because
his brother went there.
Yeah, his brother, Stephon Diggs, his brother. Yeah, so yes, he was coming to Maryland. And when Loxley didn't get the job and went over to Alabama, he went on over there with him. So, Deion is showing on a couple different fronts that, number one, he can be the face of the organization. He can be the CEO. He can be the guy that can go into these corporate meetings and bring them dollars back. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what college football is all about, that money. Bring the bag. Jackson State has been on TV more than ever. You know what I'm saying? More than they ever have in the last year. So I think just listening to, just watching Deion do his thing. I follow him on social media, so he always putting out little videos. Him talking to the kids in the locker room, man. He playing the hip hop back. Put my theme music on. Man, Deion, man, he connecting with these kids in a different kind of way, man. I love it.
Like I told you last week, he's a different kind of beast. And I said this all along. First of all, and I keep saying, and TCU's not stupid. Any school in the South, West, North, anybody, because he's a prime Black athlete. He's a smart athlete. Anybody will tell you, Troy Aikman, Deion Sanders is one of the smartest football players they ever played with. They know that. All he did was study. And what I told you guys last week, Deion can go to a Black home in any place in this country and say things to the Black family and that Black athlete and that Black young man that a lot of white coaches can't say. He can identify. He can identify with these Black players far more than any white coach in America. That's why I don't think that his talent pool will be relegated to just Texas and Florida, because you can get a kid from Southern California or wherever to come there and buy into, okay, Deion Sanders is here. He's going to put me in a position to be successful. Right. And you already know going in what you got to do. And there's no hidden agenda.
Right.
So I think it's wonderful. I think it speaks volumes to what he's done. Number one, you had the number one recruiting class and the Black football. I mean, and
HBCU.
what would they? Yeah, in the HBCU. That doesn't happen by accident.
No.
You sold out homecoming.
That probably never happened in years.
I mean, come on. And then on top of that, if you guys do subtle things that he's doing, he's got sponsorships with Cadillac, different things going on. All his players, all his players going to come to the games now. All of them got suits on. That didn't happen before. This dude has changed the culture of HBCU football.
You know what else is important is even though schools like TCU going to throw the bag at them, the bag is not what's going to get Deion to leave, because he already got some money.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So he not a guy that really need life-changing money. He got life-changing money already. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what his financial situation is. Like, I don't know what he worth, but I know he's not hurting.
Right.
So he don't have to leave this job to go to another job to secure his future. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty well set. So to even take a Jackson State job with being who he is, this is Deion Sanders we talking about. This is prime time, a Hall of Fame football player, man. You know what I'm saying? Somebody with his credentials might not even took the phone call from Jackson State.
Right.
Understand? Let alone take the job.
Absolutely.
So he took the job, understanding what he was going into, understanding that this is not Texas, This is not the Longhorns I'm going to.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? This is not University of Mississippi or Mississippi State.
Right.
Where they got millions and millions of dollars to throw around. This is not that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is Jackson State, where, you know, they put some guys in the league, most notable, Walter Payton. You know what I'm saying? But come on, man. You know, this is a guy that had options. He was on TV every week.
Right.
Yep.
You know,
And it is not.
all he had to do was show up to the set and talk about football all, you know what I'm saying, all day. You know, he didn't have to go coach.
Right.
He didn't have to go
Smart
do
guy,
that.
man. He's a smart guy, man.
So it say a lot about, it's to me, you know what I'm saying? And Deion, again, if you're a surface dweller and you the type of person that just look at the surface, Deion was the type of guy that would get on your fucking nerves. You know what I'm saying? And you would overlook his talent because he dancing, he high stepped into the end zone, he talked a lot. But that motherfucker was a beast on that football field, man. He backed everything he talked, he backed that shit up. 1,000%.
And he won.
You know what I'm saying? And he won everywhere he went. You know what I'm saying? He was a winner.
Yeah.
And so
Niners won. Cowboys won.
yeah, but people, you know, as human beings tend to be surface dwellers. So, you know what I'm saying? They look at the flamboyance and all of the stuff that don't have nothing to do with football. When you hear him talk about that, even going back to Florida State, this dude had a plan. He said, man, listen, in order for me to, to bring some attention to this situation, I got to create a character. You know what I'm saying? And Prime Time was born, and he carried Prime Time, man, from the late 80s with the Jerry Curl and the big jewelry and Dancing with Hammer and all the shit that he did, man. He, was able to turn that into
Must be the music.
Please don't bring that shit up.
Must be the music.
He put out some music. Yes, he did.
That was
I cannot go.
That had to be a low light for me. That song was terrible.
But man, with Prime Time, and he's one of my favorite athletes of all time. He's one of my favorites because of the skill level and what he did and all that stuff, man. I always just loved him, man. He brought a lot of attention to that cornerback position, which is one of the most difficult positions to play in the NFL. I mean, it's a tough position to play. But I would hope that Deion would not take this
on a throw at him.
Oh, hold up, you got bombs over Baghdad, Dean. We don't see you.
I did. Yeah, it's funny, man. A phone call came in. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Obama's calling you? That's B.O. calling you?
Well, I tell you, for a phone.
Hey, Dean, you my man,
yes,
Dean.
sir.
Don't worry about CB, man. It's all great.
Am I back?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, man. And I just hope that Deion can resist all the money that they're going to throw at him, because the impact that he's having on the HBCUs is enormous, man. I mean, and this guy has enough charisma and enough knowledge, and he's so well known. I mean, them highlights of Deion Sanders going to be looked at until we're dead and gone. And this guy can uplift this whole HBCU. Of course, there are a lot of people who are going to throw money at him, and that's going to curtail what he's doing now. I would like for him to stick with what he's doing. I would like for him to carry it through, and I would like for him to continue to raise up the HBCUs, because our athletes, man, really need to go to these colleges and bring them back up and bring money to our colleges. And if you can bring money to Howard and Morgan and A&T and so forth and so on, then we don't have to rely on no government to give us money to build buildings for these schools. They can build it based on what they're making from this football and this basketball. And then we can set the curriculum the way we want to set the curriculum and teach exactly what we want to teach. Because if they're giving you money for your school and you have that state behind your name, Morgan used to be Morgan. Morgan is now Morgan State because the state is giving it all that money, but they have control. They can control the curriculum. They can do a lot of things because they're giving you the money. So if he can continue doing what he's doing and not take the money, he's my man, and what he's doing now is even greater than what he did or anything that he did on the football field.
Totally agree.
And I'm watching him. I'm hoping that he stick with it and not be Jackie Robinson and go to where they pay him and go over to that league and Jackie Robinson leave and get paid. And then Larry Doby, they pay him, then he go and leave, and then so forth and so on. And then what happened to the Negro League? The shit fall apart and it died. And it was owned by black people. It gave black people, the vendors were black, the fans were black, everybody involved with it was black. So Dion, prime time, if you listen, bruh, hang in there. What you do. And I want other people to look at this brother and see what he's doing and follow behind him.
Yeah.
Shit.
And
I don't know why you asked me to come on here, Kenny.
Shit.
Look, and I wanted to say, like you say,
he's got something to say. I think he's got something to say.
Hold up, but these like you say, TCUs and whoever else gonna throw the bag at them. Sometimes, me personally, I feel like when they come with the money like that, it ain't even necessarily about that they feel like what he can do for the program or they bringing him in to do anything for the program. I feel like they see his success. Sometimes it's to stifle his success, to bring him over to TCU, because you know how they do us. One season, bad season, and we done. I mean, we don't get a 10-year run at a 50-50 season. Sometimes I feel like they do it to get us out of there. You know what I'm saying?
So wait a minute, Neil, expand on that. You think so? Say
because
TCU.
Just think about it. Let me take it out of football, but I noticed like a lot of black inventions, or you know what I'm saying, like clothing lines, stuff that's successful.
Okay.
When they come with the money and buy it out, 9 times out of 10, how long does it stay after that? You know what I'm saying? And look in the coaching field, look at all of the black coaches that they gave them a chance, but they gave them 2 years. 2 years they was done. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're never going to get the, you know what I mean, the full what anybody else would get.
Sure.
So some of it, like they see his success. Some of it might be some jealousy, like, yo, well, he might bring something to the program, but as soon as he ain't bringing what they expect, he's done.
Yeah.
So like Dean, I hope he does stay there and builds it up, like till it's like a Grambling state, like they were a powerhouse, but more so, I hope he's able to bridge that gap to where he is getting not the top HBCU recruits, but the top college football recruits in the country to come there. And like you say, that it's a viral effect that it just spreads. Because I don't know, maybe I'm a skeptic, but I just feel like them throwing the bag ain't always about the bag of what they believe he gonna bring. It's short term. Like, let's get in, get this pipeline real quick. And then once we get the pipeline, then, we good, we can get rid of him.
Interesting dynamic with Dion, though, is that his sons are at Jackson State and they both are very happy there. And they're both are making a name, and Shador, obviously the starting quarterback as a freshman. So I think that's something that if he even considered it, that would be the main thing. But I don't think he would leave. I honestly don't.
Hey Ken, when did that story come out about TCU wanting Dion?
I just saw it like yesterday.
Okay, because I was getting ready to say Dion needs to come out before the press like Mike Tomlin.
Right.
He needs to be
like I ain't going nowhere.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Y'all not asking Lou Saban that?
Yeah.
He's there for a purpose, man. He's there for a purpose, and I hope that he stick with it. I hope he stick with it, man.
Or if he just come out and say, man, I've been immunized at Jackson State. Hey, keep it real though. If he said that, y'all be like, oh shit.
They coming for him.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
they made a good point when you was breaking down the the players leaving the Negro leagues, and eventually the Negro league dissolved, and it brought me to the NBA ABA, where the ABA had an opportunity to merge. You know what I mean? They had an opportunity to merge with the NBA and become one. They took what, 4 of the teams, and then some of the other teams had the option to take like a either instant payout or like the equity, where you could get paid out over time. What the league worth. You know what I'm saying? So the Negro League was robbed of that opportunity, if that was ever going to be put on the table. Now that's the bigger question. Would they have ever even put that on the table for that Negro League? You know what I'm saying? Especially we talking back in the 40s and 50s.
Right.
Would they have even came to the table and said, all right, here's what we're going to do, But instead, the carrot was,
I don't think so.
the carrot was the Major League Baseball was the better situation.
Right.
So the Negro League players, and I guess it was the fact that they weren't allowed to play is what made them want to go over there and show them that I can play. We can play with you guys.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Not that this league over here is just as good or even better than that league. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the thing. The thing was, we're going to go over there and show you. You know what I mean? And so, going over there, like you say, and you ran them down, Jackie, Larry Doby, and on down the list. They all started going over, and eventually, you took all of the top guys in the major leagues on some level, which made the Negro leagues obsolete. I'm sure the attendance went way down. I'm sure that it was hard to get guys to even commit to want to play in the Negro leagues anymore. They were getting opportunities to go to the major leagues, and it just, like I said, just eventually wiped it out. But it's the same.
See,
A lot of
it's the same thing. It's the same thing with these with the coaching jobs too. You get opportunity. Sometimes, like you say, sometimes you're there for optics.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna hire this guy,
right?
Knowing the team is gonna suck,
right?
And from especially a professional coach, if you coaching in like any of the pro sports leagues, it's only a handful of those jobs anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so if you get an opportunity to get one of those jobs, more times than not, people are going to take it, no matter what the situation is. It's because it's an opportunity to get in and get that job and make whatever money that you're going to make, regardless to what the situation is.
Yeah.
It's the guy, I can't remember his name now. When the Houston Astros moved over to the American League, and they were rebuilding, and they sucked for them years, and they had a black coach for a couple of them years, black manager, excuse me. I can't remember his name. I had to look him up. But they losing 100 games year after year after year. That's on his record. You know what I'm saying? That's on his record. And it's known that they rebuilding. You say it's known that they in a rebuild, but that's not taken in consideration when it's time to get another job.
Right.
He clearly haven't had another major league hit managing
and they probably didn't keep him until they finished the rebuild and started doing better. Right. They got rid of him. But that's exactly to my point, is what I was trying to say, is like they put you in this position sometimes, like, right, so they can have an excuse, or you know what I'm saying?
But it's like the Detroit Lions with what's my guy that was the head coach for the Colts. Jim, my
man. Yeah. I forgot.
I suck with names, but this guy had them. They were over 500.
Yeah.
He had them respectable.
Yeah.
I don't think they've been over 500 since they fired them.
Well, now they
on their second coach now.
Yeah, they
They
had.
don't have no wins this year, did
Yeah, they
Who did
three.
they-
They 3-5 now. Oh, you talking about the Lions? I'm
they?
sorry.
Detroit Lions. Yeah, they
Yeah,
over.
no.
They didn't win a game this year.
Yeah, because they had that Patriots coach,
Yeah,
Matt
they had
Patricia
him.
or whatever.
Yeah, they had Patricia, and then the guy they got now is haven't won
Yeah.
a game this year. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, and I pissed off, I can't remember this guy's name.
Yeah,
But
Caldwell, Jim
Jim
Caldwell.
Caldwell. Yeah, he had them respectable, and he had them on the incline.
Yeah,
And they felt like, all right, well, now's the time to pull somebody in. So you fire this guy who's been to the Super Bowl.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He's been to the Super Bowl.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He's been respectable around the league.
yeah.
Respected head coach, respected offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So he's paid his dues.
Yeah,
He get the team on the right track. You fire him, and then you bring in another failed Patriots assistant.
yeah.
Because how many of them guys have went on and had great success and well? I'm still waiting on the first one.
Right.
I'm still waiting on the first one. And what's the name has done well, but I don't think he was a Patriots assistant. The guy that's a Tennessee player, Tennessee head coach. He was a player for the Patriots.
Vrabel.
Vrabel, right? But he wasn't. I don't think he was a coach over there, right?
No, he was a player.
So he was a player. So he's had success, but he wasn't on Belichick's staff.
Mm-hmm.
None of the guys that they hype up every year, the Belichick's, either if it's defensive, offense coordinator, they make it about these are the next greatest things. None of them guys have had any kind of success once they got a head coaching job.
Right, right.
None of them guys. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we got guys, man. You like you say, Mike Tomlin. I remember it like it was yesterday. He got that Pittsburgh job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was driving at that point, so I listened to sports talk all day, every day. He got that job. He number one. He was like a last minute interview. Everybody kept saying the job was going to go to Russ. Was it Russ Grimm? One of the guys that used to be a lineman for the Redskins for back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy. He's going to get this job. He's going to get this job. He's going to get this job. Tomlin went in. It was almost like a Rooney Rule type of interview. The Steelers, but this was way before the Rooney Rule. But they brought him in last minute. The next thing you know, there's a press conference, and he's announced as the head coach. People was losing their fucking minds. They like, yo, he only got the job. Now, I heard people on sports talk radio in Baltimore City say he only got the job because he was black. They just want to promote a black person to this head coaching position because they're making all this noise about. And this was before the Rooney Rule. This was prior to them even having a Rooney Rule. Right? So we totally discount the fact that he sat in on an interview and he wowed the interviewers. We don't that couldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying?
He came from Tampa Bay staff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was on Tampa Bay staff. Right.
I remember.
So he couldn't have went in and had a great interview. He basically they just gave him the job because he was black. Bullshit, man. Some bullshit. But like I say, it's that whole thing is, you know, you got to go above and beyond. You know, you got to be so much better to prove your worth. But you know, and then you got to prove your worth to people the casuals that I talked about earlier. The motherfuckers that sit around and watch the NFL network all year round and think they could be an NFL GM. You know what I'm saying? Those type people. These are the type people that have the opinions, which drives the media. You understand what I'm saying? They drive the media, they drive the topics. And then you get nonsense like this, you know, and then Matt Patricia, you know, Eric Mangini, who was supposed they call the man genius, all this nonsense that they come up with these guys, these Belichick coordinators, because the Patriots are kicking everybody's ass every year. So the coordinators got to be great. Oh man, they had great players. Great players make coaches look real good.
Hey, didn't Belichick, the offensive coordinator, didn't he go to Denver stayed over there for a couple of years. I was like, man, I got to go back home to daddy.
Oh, he stayed there 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
I said, man, I got to go back home.
And then he did the sucker shit. He took the coach job, hired some assistant coaches, and then turned the job down and went back to the Patriots.
Right.
So he had coaches to leave situations they was in,
right,
to go with him to the coach, and then he turns around and changes his mind.
Right. I remember that.
He shouldn't have a job in the NFL, as far as I'm concerned. He shouldn't be working. That was some sucker shit.
Yeah.
That was sucker shit to me.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So what's man, we done did it again.
Yeah.
What?
Definitely
3 hours.
3
man.
hours in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
3 hours in. All we missing now is the commercial breaks and the sponsors to pay us.
Can I before we get out here, can I mention we were talking about baseball before, and I think it's different from back then as opposed to Dion now, because even back then the Negro leagues were established for a while, but they didn't have a lot of funding, for one. Number two, they struggled in things like transportation and attendance or whatever. And once you got these guys who obviously Major League Baseball, with Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, these guys were established even before the war, before World War II. So I don't fault them for kind of going to a place where, they're getting paid better.
Talking about the black players.
Yeah, I don't fault them because they're going now. The environment, a lot of these things guys had to go through was horrible, but that's kind of one of the things, and I think maybe something we may learn, for HBCUs now. Like Dean said, if they were supported more during this time, which is 80, 90 years removed from during that time, probably be a better outcome. But during that time, it was just not a viable option for a lot of them to say, okay, I'm going to stay in the Negro leagues. And, they weren't making a lot of money. So when you got a guy like Branch Rickey who says to, Jackie Robinson, look, we're going to get you, Brooklyn Nets or Brooklyn Dodgers or whatever. And that's hard to turn down.
So
but
let me ask you a question, Cheese. Because I only read like a couple of books on the Negro Baseball League, and that was like years ago. For the players, was it for them? Was the Negro Leagues like a temporary spot so they can go to the major league?
No,
or was their mindset was like this is home,
this is home. And see, here's the thing: you had
and
guys,
then the money came, and then the money,
and then you had guys who extended out to see that the talent pool that they had in the Negro leagues. But you got to understand, guys like Ted Williams, even before him, Lou Gehrig, these guys knew. And it's documented. You can go back and look at Ted Williams. He knew how special a lot of these black ball players were. He said, and he was on record as saying when they came into Major League Baseball, it made Major League Baseball that much better.
Right.
Because
the only thing that kept them out was racism.
Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't like they were black players.
He said these guys were so talented, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's something where, it's just obviously now you're looking at it on the history of baseball where they prospered from it, because now you got guys from Dominican, Cuba, willing to risk their lives on, rafts to come over here just to play.
So can you say, or can it be said that baseball is becoming more of a game for Hispanic / Latinos and
Yes.
less of a focus for blacks?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. It's a couple reasons why. Number one, Major League Baseball has focused a lot of money on Dominican, Mexican leagues.
That's
They
right.
put a lot of money into that.
That's right.
One of the things
in fact, you know what? They down there right now.
Yes.
They down there right now.
And if I don't know if you know, but even during the 50s and 60s, they always had winter leagues in the Caribbean and all these other places.
Right.
But one of the things that a lot of the they have this initiative now for what's the guy who used to pitch for the New York Yankees? Good dude, big dude. Couple years ago. CC. Cal Ripken. A lot of these guys are on board with putting more money in urban areas because they don't have that inner city representation like they did during the 60s and 70s and 80s. I remember one time, look, you had Eddie Murray and Ozzie Smith going to the same high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were teammates.
Yeah, you had, and still from that same area, you had Eric Davis and you had people like that, Darryl Strawberry. Yeah. So all these players was an influx of inner city baseball that we don't have anymore. You struggle to see one or two players from, you might hop a few teams before you see a kid from the inner city. So their initiative now is in baseball, which I think is great. And I don't think it's talked about enough, where they're putting more money in inner cities to have this talent pool, get back up to where it should be. So
Cal Ripken, like I worked at the Cal Ripken has been doing that for like the last 15 years. Because when I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, he sponsored a grant for baseball in the city. But the problem is the money is there.
He is not playing.
But the kids are not playing because there's nobody like us there to, you know what I mean? Like when they come in, they give you the money, they give you the supplies, but they bring their people. And none of their people look like the inner city kids. I think that's where the issue is. It's sad to say, but so like when we would try to get the kids, they would be like, man, I don't want to go play over there with them people. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the bridging the gap. Like, I don't know how to, like, we would have to fight the kids. Like we would have to make it mandatory or give them some type of reward. Like, well, look, if you go over there and work with the Ripken people for such and such amount of time, then we'll do this for the rest of the day. It's a disconnect. Even though they're in there and they're providing the money and the supplies, it's a disconnect between who's running the program to get the kids in to want to play.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it for a while, like, and to the point where, like, they even, we would go to the games. They would pay for us to go to the games, all sorts of stuff. But the kids just, and that's the thing. And it's crazy because the kids, it's not like the kids didn't want to play baseball, because when they weren't there, if we went out for an activity, if we said we're playing baseball today, they'd be fine. We play baseball or we play softball. It's just the people that came in to run it, they wasn't feeling.
Yeah. And I think it'll be and I think baseball more than any other sport is much more inclusive and apt to allow Black kids to be involved, because they have a certain, you can call it Mount Rushmore of Black greats. Because you may not have that in certain other sports. A lot of other sports, when you think about Mount Rushmore, for example, you can go back. You can say, okay, the logo is Jerry West, who I'm a big fan of. But you can arguably say that the top 5 or 6 baseball players of all time, if you think about it objectively, people say Babe Ruth. But if you're talking about 5-tool players, they're all Black. When you talk about Willie Mays, when you talk about Hank Aaron, when you talk about Barry Bonds, when you talk any of these guys you think about who had 5 tools.
Would you include Bob Gibson?
Well, Bob Gibson is maybe one of the most dominant pitchers of all time.
He He was
So-
before my time, but he was like when I was like a kid and I was just coming into learning about baseball.
Yeah.
He was like one of those pitchers that I like to, and I think back then By the Blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Bob Gibson
He
and
was ferocious.
yeah, and see, that's one of my points. Bob Gibson was a different animal because he was very intimidating. He was our version of, say, a Drysdale, because he would absolutely throw at your head.
Right.
Yeah, no problem in it. To
Right.
back you off the plate.
Right. If he knew
And-
you had like a hurt rib, he's going for it.
And the thing about it, I mean, he was the main reason that they lowered the mound. And
Right.
so, you know, it's a lot of foundation in baseball that can really, we just need more guys to just like put an influx in the inner city. As Neil was saying, you know, if you had people who really want to
Right.
be in
You
there.
need people that look like
Yeah,
you to run these
yes.
programs.
I totally agree, man.
But then let me ask you this question: Do you think that the lack of baseball fields in the
Yes.
community,
Yes.
that has to have something to do with it?
Yep.
Well, like here's what I'm saying. Like when we did it, because they brought everything. They brought bases, bats, gloves, balls. So all we needed was an open field, and we went out and measured it out. So that's not necessarily a hindrance from like my standpoint. Like I said, I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, and we did it at Park Heights Club, we did it at O'Donnell Club, we did it at Cherry Hills Club. You know what I mean? Now Cherry Hill, they had fields, but like O'Donnell Heights, we didn't have a baseball field. We went over in the open field and we measured it out, and you know what I'm saying? So in this particular instance, when you got this type of program, I don't think not having a field is a hindrance.
Well, I do in this day and age, I kind of think it does, because if, for example, you take Under Armour and the Ravens in the inner city, they've helped build, I don't know what, I'm just taking a guess, 6 to 10 football fields.
Okay.
Refurbished them, did everything.
Right.
A lot of that same stuff can be done with baseball in the city.
Or even at the schools.
Yeah, in the school. I mean, you go to some of these city schools now and you look and you like, are they actually playing on that?
Right.
City schools don't
Now,
even have fields. They got
No.
concrete.
Yeah, and this is 2021.
Right.
This ain't even when we were in high school. And you think
Not
about
elementary schools,
No.
at least. Yeah, they got concrete.
Yeah.
I don't understand middle schools in
We-
Baltimore City.
we were fortunate because where we grew up, baseball was huge as kids. So we had baseball fields. We had guys who would take care of it. But just as well as they did it up in the white neighborhood. But you go in the city now, man, it's like baseball is just non-existent.
Yeah, I
You know.
know. You don't see no young
No.
boys.
And I just
playing.
think a lot, if they capitalize on that with the talent that could be, you know, brought up in it.
football is a bigger focus.
Football and basketball.
And
Yeah, but you
basketball.
push that, hey, you getting 10, 20, 15, 20, if that's when you want to tell them, hey, it's money in it. But baseball is a tough sport. Baseball is a tough sport.
From a softball dad's perspective, you know, and I understand the baseball side of it too. It's expensive. You know what I'm saying? That stuff, when you playing high, you know, at a higher level, like traveling, and I'm just talking about traveling around the area, that stuff can be pricey. You know what I'm saying? So it's like access. You know, you gotta have the funds because I'm pricing bats now for my daughter because it's time to upgrade, and we talking $300-400 for a bat, one bat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and she gonna need a glove. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the equipment costs, and if you're getting good equipment, like I'm not talking about running to Walmart and getting a baseball bat out of Walmart, because that's what people do. People, when you don't know, you run to Walmart and grab a aluminum bat that might cost you $25-30, but it's trash. You know what I'm saying? It's trash equipment. You know what I'm saying? So the equipment is costly. Then the expense to play in these different leagues and these tournaments to get the exposure. You know, if it's about going to the next level. So you got to do the things to get to the next level, which is, you know, get exposed. You know, you want to play in these tournaments. You know, you want to play in these showcase events. You want to go to the camps and all that kind of stuff. It get to be pricey. You know what I'm saying?
How does the price compare to basketball, big fella?
It's comparable. It's comparable, but when you talk,
no, I'm asking, is it higher or?
No, it might be slightly higher, but you got to think a baseball team. You talking, you know, what, 12, 13, 14 people on a team.
Right.
You know, basketball team, you don't need 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I've seen teams that will come to the gym with 5. You understand what I'm saying? And you'd have thought they had 12 over there. They come over there with 5 that can go. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a little easier to manage, you know, the numbers in basketball. And then with basketball, the talent going to sort itself out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure it does in baseball too. But that's been one of the things too that I've heard. One of the arguments is that, you know, baseball is a little more costly. You know, number one, because there is no baseball in the city at that level. So you got to go out to play. You know, you got to get out to these counties and all these other areas to play. You know, with basketball, you got basketball going on everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got basketball going on here. So it's a lot more opportunity for basketball. And then it's about what you're exposed to. So, you know, it's all about, you know, we grew up 70s, 80s. Baseball was huge. You know what I'm saying? Baseball was huge when we was growing up. So we had, you know, we had guys to look at. You know, we looked at the Eddie Murrays, you know, the Singletons. You know, Reggie Jackson was big and coming up. You know what I'm saying? So we had guys, Hank Aaron. I remember, you know, the commercial with the Hank Aaron candy bar and all that stuff. So we had people to look at, and then it's what you're exposed to is too. Also, like in my house, you know, my grandfather listened to baseball games religiously on the radio because it wasn't on TV a lot.
My father did the same.
Like I was exposed to baseball in the house. You know what I'm saying? It was baseball in the house, in the car when we ride around in the car, we cut the game on.
Right.
In the summertime when we was out playing, I can go run up and down my street, and you can find the baseball game on about 10 different people's porch. They sitting on the porch listening to the baseball game in the summertime. And that's how big baseball was at that time. And then we all played. You know what I'm saying? We all played baseball, and we played anywhere. We would get a game going in the street. You know what I mean? Wiffle ball, baseball, whatever. We get all kind of, we would just play. You know? So I don't know where the breakdown happened. I stopped playing baseball around, I stopped playing baseball around 13. Around 13 years old is when I stopped. And so I don't know where the breakdown happened, you know, because you don't see kids playing like we played. You know, we would have big neighborhood games of baseball. You don't see that no more. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you remedy that.
Well, I know when it comes to that baseball, you know, and you know, I was in Turner Station till I was 9 or so or 8, and then I moved up into the city. And you know, just being able to get that amount of people together to play baseball and everybody to have gloves and stuff like that was a challenge. It was really a challenge. It was real easy, man. If somebody had a ball, to go over there and hoop. So, you know, that thing had a huge impact on just people being able to play. And in my estimation, basketball is the universal sport right now for people to participate. Everybody playing ball. You know, the football and stuff like that is huge as far as, you know, might be the most popular when it comes to watching, and then the world football is real popular. But as far as just strictly just playing, I mean, kids can just get a ball, go to that hoop, and be over there by themselves and play. You can play ball by yourself, you know. And with the baseball, it ain't like that. It's very difficult. It was always difficult to get that many people together and to have that many gloves to play some baseball. So that has a lot to do too with the popularity, as particularly when you're talking about black folk who may be coming from areas where the money ain't there, and maybe even in the city where even the fields aren't there, but they'll have basketball hoops everywhere. And if they don't, you just put a rim up and make one yourself.
For a garbage can.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing though, Dean. Like I lived in Randallstown, I lived in Baltimore City, and then lived in Turnus. When I lived in Randallstown, yeah, we played baseball out there because, like you said, the elementary school had fields, baseball fields. But when I moved to Baltimore City, they didn't have any baseball fields. It was that issue. Like they had, like I remember my elementary school, they had it was concrete and they had the baseball field on that, but wasn't nobody, playing out there. But then, like you say, the other challenge was very few people had gloves. Like me and my brother, we had gloves because we had moved from Randallstown where we played it. So it is that challenge of who's got the glove, who's got the bat. You know what I mean? It ain't just a field issue. It's like you say, it's a socioeconomic issue as well. But then I moved down Turnus, and like Kenny said, every day it was a baseball game going on in the summer. You know what I mean? Even though baseball wasn't my thing, you know what I'm saying? It still gave me the opportunity to participate, but it wasn't my chosen sport. But that is another issue to the city. It ain't just the fields. It's just like you can't play baseball without gloves and a bat.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, you can always grab a basketball or a football and find somewhere to play. But with baseball, you need a bat, you need gloves, you know what I'm saying? And you need like what?
Protection for that catcher. You need protection for that catcher.
Man. Hey, we ain't never had no protection for the catcher, but
the tools of ignorance.
Boy.
Right.
And we didn't cover.
And then, like you say, the other thing is you need what? How many? 18 people?
A lot of people.
Well, see, I'll push back on that because we played 1-on-1.
Right.
We played 2-on-2. Like we loved it. Like we love baseball.
We played wall ball, right? Where
so we can get a game. Like it didn't matter. We didn't have to have 9-on-9. We had played 1-on-1. We had played 2-on-2. Stuff like that. But we loved it. And when you love something, you figure it out. You'll find a way. And then we even made up little games. We would play rundown. Just trying to get from one base to the other. Being just play that or play the three flies. Whoever catch three fly balls is the one. Then you get to throw the balls in. We would do all kind of stuff like baseball, like. You know what I mean? We just played and we just loved it. And we played every day. From from the time when the weather broke, once it started getting warm, it was time to break them gloves and bats out, and we would play really until football season. So, and those for me was the only two sports I really played as a young kid. Football and baseball. I never played on a football team. I played in the street, with my friends. And like I told y'all last week, I didn't start playing basketball until I was 13. Like, what I'm saying? And that's when I started playing baseball. So once I stopped playing baseball, I picked the basketball up, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I know I had well, how Smitty, the impact that Mr. Smitty had on Turner Station and baseball. So everybody was into the baseball and Turner based on, Mr. Smitty's love for it and how he was leading that run there. But when I moved to the city, the baseball wasn't up there like that. And I even coached baseball, Little League baseball. And even, and although, I was Gardnerville, and even though we had participation and it was kids coming and everything, but it was very difficult to keep their attention. They'd be out in the field, picking up grass, throwing it in the air.
Yeah.
And all that, man, was very difficult keeping their attention as you know, coaching Little League baseball, as opposed to basketball or football, where there's always movement and there's always activity and stuff like that, you know. So I just think that, you know, with kids in general, you know, they gravitated more towards the basketball and the football as opposed to the baseball. I think it was just something they just gravitated towards it. And just like, you know, Kenny, you say, once you start balling, shit, you forgot about baseball. You start hooping. That was your love. And I think in general, it seemed like, you know, the kids definitely gravitate towards more basketball and football than baseball.
Yeah. And then
slower game.
And then too is the event of it. You know, football now is an event. You know, Sundays, man, you look at families that get together on Sundays to watch a football game. You know, like I say, the casual fan, they talking about football all year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You football is played all year now in Maryland, where, you know, before that was just happened down south, you know, down in where it was warm all year, where, you know, you didn't have football. Once football season was over, here it was on to the next. You know what I'm saying? Now you got youth football leagues going on all year, man. You got the 7-on-7s, you got the spring football, you got summer football, and they playing tackle. You know what I mean? They playing football all year now. So football, like I say, football is king. You know, Baltimore may
$1 billion king.
Baltimore may be basketball, but football is king nationwide. You know, football is America's game right now. And it's like I say, baseball is popular in pockets. Baseball and softball is popular in pockets. Like I say, I'm just looking at a situation for my daughter, and like I say, I'm contemplating how I'm gonna work it out, because it's gonna cost me a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? If I am to take her to this situation, you know what I'm saying? So it's something that I gotta really consider. You know what I mean? And then it's gonna cost a lot. It's gonna take a lot of time too.
Maybe swimming is cheaper.
Say again?
You said what?
I said maybe swimming is cheaper.
Yo, but it's crazy. When did these sports get so expensive? Like you say, when we was young, man, you had to pay the little registration fee, and that was it. $25.
Yeah, but it was. Right. But we wasn't traveling like that. Either.
True, but you know,
and we played in one league.
Right.
You know, we played right there. Like I say, my daughter, she plays when she played in the spring, they play in the rec league, which is basically like we had in Turners. Everything is at one field. They play the same couple teams twice a year, and then they have a little championship and all that. That's that. So once we get to the summer, where she on the travel team, they playing on. So this past summer with this one league, but in summers prior, there was two traveling leagues that we played in during the week, where you getting 2 games. You might get 2 games a night, you know, on a Monday, and then 2 games on a Wednesday, right? And they still in school at this point. It's still right at the end of the school year, but you might got a 6 o'clock and an 8 o'clock game, right? Damn. And they're doing tournaments on the weekends.
Wow.
So that's Saturday and Sunday. So it's time consuming and it's expensive. Like, you know what I'm saying? You running up and down, and then you got to take into account. Man, you got parents that's getting off work. I mean, parents on our teams is coming from Montgomery County to wherever they live at to get their child to a game in Chase, Maryland, or up near Harford County. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of ripping and running. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of commitment to get this, you know, to get these girls where they need to go. So it is a lot. It's a lot, man. And like, I applaud everybody, man. I applaud the parents that get it done. Like, my situation a little different because I've been working from home for the last year and a half. So, and I can basically set my own schedule. So I can kind of make sure we get into the games on time. Sometimes I run late just because of things I got to do, but man, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. And So for a family that don't have a vehicle, you know what I'm saying, that don't have a vehicle to get the kid from here to here,
tough.
that's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough. You know, or a family that gotta work. You know, the family that gotta work 3 to 11 and gotta work multiple jobs. It's tough. It's tough. So, you know, that's that expense. You know, it's just because of they trying to provide access, because they are there, like I say, it's local options where you can just play in the little house league, and then once that's over with, you're done. You know, and you ain't got to worry about traveling back and forth. But it's that trying to get that next level, that's either the next level experience or the next level of play. You know what I mean? You're trying to get your child exposed to that, and it's expensive. It's expensive as hell. You know. But like compared to basketball, like, I mean, shit, Dean, we coached the team together. So just think about the money we was putting out our own pockets, just to do the little bit of stuff we was doing, and we wasn't even on a heavy, we wasn't in on a major level. We just was doing minimal stuff, and that shit got to be expensive, man. You know what I'm saying? It just and like you say, you know, because you do it's that no child left behind mentality. Like, yo, it would have pained me to not be able to see this kid or that kid be able to participate because they couldn't afford it. Or they, you know what I'm saying, they couldn't do the things that our kids could. They had the access.
Right.
So, you know, I had a big van at the time, and my shit stayed full of kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how many parents was coming to them games, man? Not many. Not many. So it's like
we had to go all over the city round up. So we had to all over.
Yeah, man. So it's a lot of sacrifice, you know, and like I say, I applaud people, man, that stick their neck out and help the kids with these situations. And like I say, with basketball, it was I didn't have. I can say with the group that we had, especially the younger group, it was probably 50-50, where we had parents participating. Like my sister, you know, you had a couple other ones that they was at every game, but there was that core group. If me or Dean wasn't taking them, they wasn't gonna go. That's just that. And we talking about key pieces to the team.
Right.
Like, so, you know, I'm not leaving him home. Shit.
Right.
I'm gonna go wherever I gotta go to get him. You know? And that's the whole you know, that whole commitment thing. We didn't cover a lot of ground. We covered a whole lot of ground tonight.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's almost 12 o'clock, man. Y'all look tired. Y'all old dudes look like y'all ready, you know, they fall asleep on the porch.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut this last hour out the show when you post it.
No, this was good, man. You know, good debate, good topics. You know what I'm saying?
She called you a bully, Brooks. She said you're a bully. Is that true?
Don't listen to Cheese, man.
Oh man, you know what?
Man.
You know what?
I expect no less from someone who's a BO fan, man.
Hey, Dean, my bad, man.
That's what
Mike,
they
you know
do,
what?
Man.
I thought I sent that to you privately, Dean. My bad.
He thought he sent you an immunized chat, man.
Immunized, that's a good one.
Man, you better vaccinate that fucking chat, man.
You know I love you, CV. I just messed with you.
I didn't know the B stood for bully, though, man.
Yeah. I tell you what, I said.
I always mess with Cheese and BO, man, because I know he's a BO fan, and you know.
No, but I'll say I know we're about to get off with you guys, man. You had my brain smoking. I appreciate y'all, man. I really do, man.
So in the future, you know, we're gonna have to dig into that conversation you was having with Malcolm behind you there, CB. That might have been the most entertaining part of the whole couple hours we've been on here, you know.
Yeah.
I was just trying to tell him, look, man, it ain't me. It ain't me.
Yeah.
Well, the bigger question,
Orioles cat.
the bigger question is, did he respond?
I ain't gonna let y'all know that. I ain't gonna tell y'all that, man.
That's a good answer.
That's between me and Malcolm,
answer.
man.
Good answer.
But Cheese will feel it when he says BO the next time and he feels a little damn pinch.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, where'd that come from?
Yeah, well.
Spirit of Malcolm coming down on your ass.
Yeah. I keep be on speed dial, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Keep
I
on
know.
speed.
That's your boy, man. He won't
Yeah.
take my calls.
No. He know how you treat him.
No, he'd be like, Secret Service.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's Brooks. Get Brooks out of here, will you? It's Brooks. All right, man. It's been great, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate
absolutely,
y'all.
man.
You know, so I say this the round table. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we basically, man, this is like sitting in the barbershop, man. You throw a topic out and see where it
No
takes you.
doubt.
See where it takes
right.
you at. So, you like I say, we covered a lot of ground tonight. Like
I think there's gonna be a lot more to come out with Rodgers. I
And we'll
don't
talk
think that
about it.
story.
Yeah.
I don't think that story. You know, I think there's gonna be more to come out.
And we'll talk about it. You know, we'll talk about it here on the Sports Mix.
Right. Let me interject. You know, I ain't watching NFL football, so that ain't gonna be my forte. But like, I'm out of the loop on that one.
It's all good.
That's all right. I understand.
It's all good. I'm watching on a weekly basis. Typically, when the Baltimore Ravens are playing, you know, I'm very focused during those 3 hours. Very.
Who they got up this week?
Minnesota
Vikings. Yeah.
Oh, that's a W.
Yeah.
That's a W.
I don't know. I heard they second in the league in sacks, so
Nah, it's a W.
moving.
I like your confidence. You're a whole lot more confident at this time, Brooks, because when we got on, you a little down, man. Them Knicks was down, what, 15 when we you wasn't real confident, man.
No, I wasn't, man. You know, but they came back and pulled it out, man.
Put their foot in Milwaukee's ass.
Hey, they needed to, man, because I don't think Middleton was there, so they were missing like a couple of players. So this was, if there was a time to beat them, like this was it.
Yeah. So I got before we check out, I got New Orleans Golden State on. So we gonna have to. I'm gonna throw it out there, and we're gonna have to talk about it another time.
Don't say it.
With
don't say it.
Zion Williamson.
The 300-pound.
Nah, I ain't gonna get into it.
You know what?
We ain't gonna do it tonight. We ain't gonna do it tonight.
I'll say this one thing about Williamson. I think he's going to have the same problems that Bill Cartwright had and Bill Walton had for different reasons, because both of their careers was cut short by injuries to their foot. And I think that with Zion and his weight, he's going to have nothing but foot problems. Or
Sam Bowie had that same problem too.
Yep, Sam Bowie.
Yep.
Sam Bowie. Yeah. Did Grant Hill have that problem?
Yeah, he had a foot issue.
Yeah, ankle injury.
Ankle. But with Zion, you can see that it's his weight.
Exactly.
He is the love child of Shaq and Charles Barkley.
Oh, damn.
You didn't hear that? You didn't hear when Barkley said that?
Damn. Nah. Damn. Wow.
That's why I like Chuck, man. Chuck is always good for a good quote. Don't make a damn bit of sense, but he just be hilarious, man. He said, "Yeah, Chuck, you look like it, man. You had a baby."
When they got Zion coming back?
I don't know. He's sitting over there now with a mask on and street clothes. So I don't know. And I got the volume down. So I'm sure they said something about it. I got the volume down. So
yeah. I thought I saw like a week ago that he was like a couple weeks out before he was ready to play. So it ain't that long.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be out of shape because if you got a broken foot, what can you do?
Yeah.
Right.
So he's gonna have to play himself into shape, you know.
He can eat burgers and pizza and
Right. Yeah, he throwing down.
Right.
gumbo.
He could not be out of shape
crawfish.
though, like you say. He could get a nutritionalist and eat healthy.
Right.
That would help him get in shape somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that ain't gonna happen.
Nah. Well, and he got a buy-in too. You know what I'm saying? Young guy. You gotta figure it out. And that's the thing. You know, we hit on that last week with the youth, man. Just drafting these young players. We don't give them opportunity to grow up. You know what I'm saying? At 19 and 20, man, we was fucking McDonald's up. Regularly. And that was good food to us. You know, we couldn't wait to get to McDonald's. So, you know, you imagine if we had access to some millions of dollars, we go to McDonald's and ball out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, bro. That's the thing. I think, like you say, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm cheating myself or fooling myself because I'm going on the knowledge I have now. So you're right. I think as a millionaire, it wouldn't be McDonald's, but it'd be Ruth Chris steaks and some high class burgers or steaks or whatever.
But I mean, I don't know if I'd have been eating that shit every day. Like,
right.
I'd have went to Ruth Chris.
Right.
Because see, to me at that age, you know, when I was able to go on a date to goddamn Chili's, I was doing it.
Right.
Tell me shit. I done just spent $35 on a dinner for two.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn, keep them Coca-Colas coming, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you know, that was balling out. Yeah,
right.
It's just a matter of you know, we gotta let these guys grow up some, man, and you know, it's enough pressure on them as it is. With you know, you got all this money and the expectation to come with being that guy and the face of the team and the potential face of the league. All the pressure they was putting on them coming out of Duke to be this, that, and the other. A lot of times, all these kids want to do is play ball, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't be tripping off all that extra shit. They just want to hoop. All that other stuff come, and it just take the right individual to want to deal with all that. So,
and you ain't
another time.
We didn't even touch on Ruggs either.
Who?
Yeah, that's tough.
Who?
Ruggs, the kid from the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Is that the one that was in some kind of accident?
Yeah.
DUI?
Yep.
I didn't read. I saw like the line, but I didn't really read the details of the story, so I don't know too much about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it up tonight though, so I could be prepared.
Yeah. Short story is he was going 156 miles an hour in his Corvette.
They keep making it higher. First it was 130.
Damn.
They said,
was he drunk?
56. He was drunk. He was drunk. He had his girlfriend in the car with him, or a female in the car with him, and he rear-ended a female, 23 years old, who was in the car, who had just dropped off her cousin or her friend at the airport.
Did he kill anybody?
He killed her and killed the dog.
Yeah.
The car. He said the car caught fire, and the people said they could hear her in there screaming that she burnt up in there.
Oh, he's going to prison. He's going up.
Going to prison. Yeah, he was on the highway on 156 miles an hour. He was on a regular street, you know. Wow. So bad news.
Yep.
That's crazy.
All right, fellas.
Yeah,
it's been real. It's been real, man. We definitely knocked it out the park this time.
You did it again, big fella. Again.
Yeah, so you know, these round tables, man. You know, we done went the last we done been 3 weeks straight now. We might make this a weekly thing. Might have to do it a couple times a week too. You know, especially when it start getting cold. Ain't nobody trying to be outside.
That's true. That's true.
We're, I appreciate y'all coming on with me, man. Make it a whole lot
Those
easier.
3 hours, my little spotlight just cut off.
If it was just me by myself, I'd have been out of here by about 8:30.
I appreciate the offer to being here,
Definitely.
Yeah. So y'all keep y'all ears open, like you say, and if it's stuff y'all want to bring to the table, man, just let me know. We can chop it up. Just hit me up. And anybody that's watching that want to get on the panel, just hit me up. Hit my inbox, man. We'll chop it up. So thank y'all again, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Morning.
It's that time of night. It's that time of night for those of us who, I think Cheese the only one that's married. So,
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's that time of night, fellas. You know what I mean? Make them calls.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
All right, Kenny, you talking too much now, Kenny.
Yeah.
You know what? We got to cut this off, fellas.
Yeah.
Peace, fellas.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, y'all
Peace
take
out.
it easy.
Easy, y'all.